Friday, last week, good, so the first 2 days were 12-hour days, so.
No, thank you.
Okay.
You're like, I'm trying to survive the day and not stab somebody in the foot.
Exactly. Exactly.
Thank you. All right, gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order. I'm gonna start tonight with a little story. Gail and I were talking last week, and I told her to embrace her problems. So she came and gave me a hug. Sorry.
One joke.
I got one joke, and that's it. So that's it. Don't ask for more. Okay.
You should use hair money.
Yeah, that wasn't on there. It was, yeah, so, all right. We're gonna have Randy lead us in a pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yep. All right, we want to do a roll call, Kim?
Beavers, Craig,
Here.
Nichols,
Here.
Miller,
Here.
Allen, here, Geisler, here, Huber.
Here. All right, we have a full house again tonight. This is becoming a regular thing. That's a good thing. Any public comment before we get started? Because it's not on the agenda. All right,
Nobody's online.
Again,
go ahead.
you have something?
No one on the line, but you.
Oh. Last DDA meeting was brought to our attention that we needed to re-sign at the bank. Rosemary and myself, the treasurer and president, are on the bank signature notes to sign checks. It's kind of turned into a fiasco, and I haven't really figured out exactly what happened. So I'm trying to do that. I ended up talking to the bank. I went to the bank. Tried to figure out what's going on, but apparently I've been removed from being able to sign. And
Okay.
Rosemary also has been removed. So we've signed checks that kind of aren't too good because we're not on the signature anymore.
Right.
Which I haven't figured out how that happened.
Right.
When I talked to the bank, they said that the only one that could either remove or put anyone else on was either Rosemary or myself.
Yep. So I can tell you what happened. Okay, what I think happened, right? Paula left, right? We called the bank and said we need to remove Paula from the Laingsburg accounts. And we decided, we talked to the attorney, we decided to add Randy, we talked to Kim and Cassie, neither of them wanted to have signing capability. So we added Randy because he's on the finance committee. We made that change. We then came to the city council and afterwards it told the city council, right? But we think at that point, the bank, which they should not have, removed you and Rosemary from the DDA accounts. Because you're right, we couldn't do that either because we weren't on the DDA accounts.
And I think Randy,
But you are now.
We are now, I get it.
I think
I get
us
it.
three are on him for some reason.
I
We
get
didn't
it.
ask you put on him though.
We asked them to change from, it was Gail, myself, and Paula. We asked them to change it to Gail, myself, and Randy.
But did you do that before these guys voted and you have anything on paper saying that that was to be done?
Or, no,
For you, her, and him,
did not.
don't you think that should be done first?
So Paula left. We didn't have another meeting. We wanted to get her off the bank again. As soon as we had our next meeting, yes, we did that and got that
Yeah, what approval?
to make that change.
Make the change to put you,
To
Yeah.
basically take Paula off and put Randy on.
But not to be put on the DDA, that's.
Not to put, not, nothing to do with the DDA, Mark.
then how did that happen?
When
The
I
bank
asked,
made a
question.
mistake.
when I called the bank to put Danelle on the bank account, I called Mark, who handles the municipality. And they told me that if you change anything on the bank account, you have to move everyone. Every person that's on every account in the city accounts have to be moved at once. So you can't add or subtract someone without, it goes forward. It doesn't go back. So when you go to change anything, you have to make sure that everybody that was on there before is still on there, and then you add or subtract at that point. So that's probably what happened. You went in and changed, and they took everybody off and left you guys on.
But they shouldn't have. Because we
It's
didn't have.
still a
separate.
city
Separate.
account.
But
The
how come the
DDA
fire,
still is under the city account, and that's,
is the fire under the city account?
no,
Okay, fire's not.
No.
But the DDA is.
Yes.
So has there already been actions taken to take you off?
I am no longer on any of the accounts, correct? Good,
And what
because
about
I,
the
It was my understanding that yes, that was happening. And then an email was going to Mark.
So this
Sign.
this is something that I don't understand. So the bank, after you had said they had emailed me, but I had literally deleted it and never even, because I didn't know what it was. I thought maybe it was a scam or something.
And then we're going back a month.
Correct.
I mean,
She sent me the first one on March 13th.
Okay.
That was the first one. And then she repeatedly every week sent me another one. I had never opened them until after our meeting on Monday night. And then at that point, you said you had to go into DocuSign. And I said, I don't know how to do it.
mhm.
And in my opinion, I'm sure they use it and it's legal, but how does she have a clue of who I am?
Your email. It's a,
And that's what she said. I said, well, how do you know who you're even talking to? And she said, well, because Jeff and whoever give me your email address. I said, well, Jeff can give you Joe Blow's address or
I didn't, I don't think
whoever.
you were probably
You
already.
were on the paperwork. We didn't give you.
We didn't give them your email address. I didn't give them your email address. I wouldn't have done that.
Someone did.
I don't know.
They told
You're
me
probably
it was
there.
you.
Wasn't me.
That's what they told me.
Okay,
They all, it doesn't matter. They told me that it was you that had given them my email address.
that is incorrect.
And then she proceeded to say the only one that could remove us
Mhm.
was us.
Yep.
Which I said, then this doesn't make any sense because we
Yep.
didn't remove ourselves
Right, I agree.
and now we're removed. So you're telling me that the bank screwed up? Oh, no, everything they did was correct.
No,
So-
you
so-
just
so
said,
something happened,
you just said the only people that could remove you were the two of you.
correct?
Did you
Right.
contact the bank?
I did not.
So how, other than the bank screwing up, how did it happen?
According to the bank,
Mhm.
you had contacted. I'm just telling you what they're told me.
For the
That-
DDA?
That
Wait,
that
no,
you
hang
had
on,
contacted
Mark.
them
Go back,
and giving.
go back, what you just said.
Go ahead.
Go back to what you just said. Forget about if they're telling you I contacted the bank, right? Even if I contacted the bank, if you're the only two that can remove you from the bank account, how could I do it?
That's what I said. I said,
can't.
how did he get on the bank account then?
Right.
Or Gail and, is it
Randy,
Randy?
Yep.
How did they get on the bank? I don't know. They must have put them on there. I said, well, who would have put them on there? If they're the only ones on the account, they're the only ones that can move themselves. Which, again, this doesn't make any sense to me, and I think you need to investigate the bank about this.
I think the bank's already looking at it.
Because absolutely, you three can do whatever you want to assign someone else or take someone else off. And you can do that without council approval. And I think that's totally wrong.
And I'm not gonna disagree with you there, Mark. The only reason I did it, when I did it, was because of timing. And as soon as we had another meeting, we could have got a special meeting together just to tell people that we were taking Paul off. I didn't think that was needed.
So what I'm going to do with Rosemary and myself
Mhm.
is the bank sent me, she just bought me a DocuSign and sent it back. I said, well, but how do you know that it's me? I don't agree with this at all. You don't know that it's Rosemary's. I could sign Ronald Reagan on that. I mean, what, how do you, without her driver's license, one, and without a piece of paper such as the DDA minutes showing that she was allowed to be on there, I'm not doing it that way. So until our meeting comes at the end of the month, I'm gonna put it in front of them that she goes back on, I go back on, they will vote on it. And that piece of paper will be stapled with both of our driver's license and our signatures. That's how we're going to do it. And I think that you guys should be doing the same thing. Your ass is gonna get in a ringer. Because this shouldn't happen. And I mean a big ringer. And no offense, but if it says that two people can do this, I would highly not want a husband and wife doing this. And I'm not trying to pick on you two
That's gonna
directly,
become the theme for tonight, so I'm ready.
but it doesn't look
Yeah,
good
I get it.
from anyone sitting outside here that sees that you two can make decisions. I mean, it's just not good. And it might be legal. And the bank don't care. Because you can literally ask.
That was approved by
Well,
the council also. Just
without
saying.
these people knowing what's going on with the accounts,
We did talk to the attorney too about us being a husband and wife, and it was a concern, and he said it was fine, so it wasn't.
they said it was fine.
I know.
And I'm not saying it isn't fine or isn't illegal.
Right.
I'm
It was
just saying,
approved by this
to
council.
look from the outside,
I get
look
it.
in, and it looks really not very good. It just doesn't. And I'm not saying you do anything like that, but it doesn't look good. It's no different than Rosemary and me saying, well, Dean's gonna be a check signer on the DDA now, and we don't tell the DDA. That ain't right. They need paperwork at the bank to prove who's on there and who can get on and who can get off. And the only way they should do it is with a piece of paper from the councils saying that that's what's gonna happen. Not that one person or two people are doing it, but the whole council knows about it and then does it. That's the only way it should be done. That's just my opinion. It's the only way it should be done.
So
And the DDA is gonna do it.
everybody in this world uses DocuSign. That's a common practice.
Apparently
You're about the
so.
only one I know that doesn't do it that
Well,
way.
I'm old school,
Okay,
but if we DocuSign something, such as I DocuSigned that,
yep,
and I just had her DocuSign it, and then I go back to the board and say, we weren't on there legally to do and sign the checks that we just signed over the last 3 months.
I told you that in the last DDA meeting.
You did not tell me I wasn't on there. You said I needed to re-sign.
I did tell you you weren't on there. I told you that Rosemary and you were no longer on there.
No,
That's not
that's
true.
not true.
That's not true.
Jeff, all
We
you
didn't know
said
until the next day.
is that
when
you
he
need
went
to
to
sign.
Okay,
That's,
I
that,
And
thought
I
I
didn't
said-
understand why I did, so once I went in there, they wouldn't give me any information because I wasn't on the account. But then when I called and talked to this other guy, she was full of information. Just telling me stuff that, and I'm like, how can you even tell me this when I'm not on the account? I don't understand. So I think your bank also needs to be looked at on how your account is handled. Meaning that anybody can just go in there and sign. It just doesn't make any sense to me, not without some paperwork, good paperwork from the city and the council, stapled to a driver's license copy and a signature. That's the only way I'm doing it, and that's how we're gonna do it on the last Monday of the month, put her and I back on this account. I just wanted everybody to kind of know. And then I
so if you need
also
me to go to the
need-
bank,
so I'm gonna
because
get,
you're not on it, I can do that. I will do that.
what's it?
I will go to the bank if I need to.
Okay,
Well, I had a question. Go back to Kim. If they're tied to the city's account and they put them back on, would that clarify, like, would that put them on the city's checking account?
No,
no,
no.
Okay, because you just said they're all tied together. You do,
No,
you do
just
them
the
all.
city is still, I mean,
It's
it's,
the parent
Yeah.
account. Okay, so if
Yeah.
you change that, it changes them
Yes,
down below,
the
but if it
city
changes them down
council
there,
Runs all of the accounts that
Okay.
we have.
okay.
They're just the check signers for the DDA.
And
Okay.
then I think we also want to know who's going to be on the account besides the two of us.
Shouldn't be anybody, it should be just you two.
Is that like the clerk or treasurer needs to be on there? I mean-
The treasurer, the president, two
That-
people.
that-
Well, I meant from
that's-
like the city's treasurer,
Yeah.
clerk, did they need to be on there?
No,
No, that never
Have
happened.
never had.
So you only had two signers, so it just,
Right.
it'd just be the two of you, I guess.
That's what you had before.
Correct.
It is, but it's not what it is right now.
Yeah, it should just be the two of you then. Honestly, from my personal standpoint, I don't want to touch DDA's money.
right.
That's more problems I could see happening with.
Well,
Somehow
I'll
we
go
were
back
tied into
to-
the DDA, so.
I
I'd rather
couldn't
not
have
touch it.
taken you off.
Hey.
It doesn't matter what I did.
That's what I
shouldn't
told her.
have
I
been
said,
able
he
to
can't
do
do
it.
Yeah,
that. He can't.
exactly.
I can't do that.
I said, there's no one can except
Except
her,
for
I,
you two.
correct? And she goes, yeah. I said, well, then how did I get? Oh,
Yeah, and I
Weird.
apologize for that. I thought I told you guys that you guys were replaced by Randy, Gail and I.
No, I did not know that because I wrote illegal checks that
I
night.
get it. I get it.
And
That's-
sent handed them over to him to sign. I never would have done that if you had told me I was not on the account. In fact, I will not be writing any more checks until I'm on the.
But I actually reached out to you and said we had a problem and
You told me you had a problem
But we
and
never
that you
talked
needed
to-
to get the,
yeah, but you never saw, yeah, so I don't know. Like
You
the
said you needed to
bank,
get
the
the
bank
person
reached out to me
on
and
the
said that
account.
Mark wasn't responding to his emails. And so,
which I wasn't. That is correct.
and they didn't know what to do, and that was the email on the account, they didn't know what to do.
So you're pointing fingers a whole lot this way. We tried very hard to get it taken care of.
I was never made aware that I was on the DDA account until I was being told I was.
Yeah,
don't
Cause I didn't know I was
think
on it either.
Nobody knew. I don't know
We
how
found
that.
out as soon as we found out.
Yeah, I was called by the bank to like make sure that I was okay with being removed, I think, and I'm like, I didn't even know I was on that. I was confused about the call. How am I on an account?
I think someone at the bank needs to get a ask Joan myself.
Well,
And
the training that I went to last week, I asked this question specifically to about 10 different clerks. And every one of them said, that's insane. First of all, no one should be able to be put on an account unless they have a resolution or the minutes of the council saying that they should be put on an account. The bank not requiring that is insane. They said, I don't know who you bank with, but every single person I talked to said they could
Is
with
it?
it. They have to have the minutes from a meeting to put somebody on the bank or take them off.
Are you guys dealing with Huntington? I would no longer deal with them.
So
I seriously. would-
I think it should be
I-
an actual, at least if we're gonna stay with Huntington, then at least it has to be a resolution that the council has, that no one can take or remove anyone from any account without a minutes from the council. At least make it our rule if we're gonna stay with Huntington, because they apparently don't care.
That's,
I- and I
that's scary.
asked,
That's
yeah.
pretty scary, actually,
It
if you
is.
think about it.
She literally told me that Rosemary and I have the power to go in there and take Dean in there or this gentleman in there and put him on the account.
Him?
And she doesn't need, I said, you don't need a resolution, you don't need any paperwork. She says, I don't need anything, as long as you two people that are on the account say, you want to put somebody else on, you can put them on. And I'm like, something sounds fishy. You should not be able to do that. You just shouldn't. I mean, that's just open yourself up to a whole can of worms. And so that's the banks,
That's the bank.
but you guys need to be aware of what your bank's letting happen.
We are.
Yeah,
We are.
and then,
We've been talking to them.
yeah,
We brought that up, and everything you brought up, Mark, we've talked to the bank. Everything you've talked,
and I would seriously consider
because,
another
Yeah.
bank.
Yeah.
But that's what the DDA is gonna do as far as,
okay.
so we're
If
gonna
you
do a
need me to-
resolution.
If you need me to do anything,
They'll vote on it, and then we'll sign, and I'll take a picture of her driver's license, a picture of my driver's license, they'll be with the resolution, and then I'll go to the bank. Even if they don't want it, I don't care, it's going that way.
So they don't make you physically go on?
No.
Nope.
No,
See, that's something
You
wrong
don't.
too. That's wrong too.
I
You
agree.
should have
That's
to
why I
both
put
be
it-
in there. They'll match your driver's license up with your face. And
And
you
your
sign
signature.
something, yeah. Oh my gosh, that's scary. That's scary. Yeah, not good.
have you not bought a house lately? That's how you buy houses.
Are you filing your
Wow.
tax
Or you
return?
file your taxes.
Yeah,
That's
I'm,
common practice.
I'm sure that it's
I
not,
mean,
Yeah.
it's not something we,
not something, yeah, that,
yeah, I mean, it's,
Hmm.
but I think it's scary.
okay, all right, anything else?
I don't think so.
All right.
Hmm.
Approval of minutes, can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
I
from
make a
last
motion.
meeting?
I second that.
Okay, do we have any discussion, any questions, any concerns? All right. All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say aye. All right, can I get a motion to approve treasurer's report?
Make a motion. I second.
Okay, any questions? Need any more detail? Anything else? All right, all in favor of approving the treasury report, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say aye. Okay. Can I get a motion to open the public hearing for the closeout of the CDBG rental rehabilitation
I'll make a
project?
motion.
I'll second.
All in favor of opening public comment, say aye.
Aye.
And all opposed, say aye. All right, public hearing for closeout of CDBG is now open. Is there anybody online?
Nope.
Okay, anybody out here have any comments? All right, can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
I make a motion.
A second.
Yeah, everybody approve, say aye.
Aye.
Everybody disapprove, say aye. Okay, public hearing is now closed. All right, 300 Grand River parking lots. And you are gonna walk us through that, or?
I can.
Please. Okay,
All right. So. Parking lot project has gone through bidding. And we've been provided with the information available for what the bids were on that contract or for that contract. Total for it, with, if it had all the alternatives and everything included, would be $730,000, 509. That includes $84,000 in allowances, and again, some of these alternatives are not related to the planned potential work that the city was looking to be involved with. There are two alternatives that were included in the parking lot project for activities that were requested for city use, and that includes sidewalk removal replacements for the Woodhall side of the parking lot area. And that bid number was parent low was $6,400. And then there was an additional one for some site lighting impacts that were going to be in the right of way in matching the city's standard lighting along the Grand River. And that work is in two different sections and comes out to about $14,598. At this point, I believe there was a resolution that was passed earlier on for a participation level of $150,000, if I'm remembering correctly.
that is,
And what I don't know is if that was intended to encompass the alternatives or not. But that number, number would be the max, based on that resolution.
so that number was what the city was prepared to pay without taking additional action. Wasn't saying we wouldn't go higher, nothing like that, but But anything additional to that had to be approved by the council. Is what that number. Now, whether it's the additions or, don't know specifics on that, so.
Okay.
But that was, for that project, that was the amount that was. Because we were expecting this to come in before.
Yes, we did some initial cost opinions earlier on in the project. There's been some additional development over the course of the completion of the design, which brought in some more work that wasn't originally planned in there. So that has played a part in it. We did take a look at, there wasn't an extreme amount of detail in the breakdown for the costs themselves, but we went through and compared that with what we anticipated being in the packages. And they're a little higher than what we were anticipating for, or had been looking at for those costs themselves, but they weren't completely outside of what we're seeing in some of the market at this point. Part of the numbers from what we were looking at in the near 400,000 neighborhoods where we're at here has some other management costs that are associated with it, has some allowances and contingency dollars that are tied in with the total project cost as well, which is where we're seeing some of those numbers coming above the original 400,000. In that, if I remember correctly, did not include what came in for the alternatives as well. So the $21,000 in items from sidewalk and electrical wouldn't have been involved in the project at the point when we were looking at.
So do we have feedback from the school? I've not heard. Have you heard anything from the school?
My name is Chad.
Oh, hey, hi.
Company.
Yeah,
I'm not here to represent the school.
Okay.
Informally,
okay,
they have mentioned to me that they are good with the split cost.
yeah, I'm not sure we are.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's
Yeah,
more than double what we were expecting.
fair enough.
So,
I'm not here to defend
and
the
I'm not,
numbers.
I'm not making that decision.
I'm
I'm
here to
just
answer
saying,
questions.
I don't know is that we're gonna be able to cut that.
Can we ask
Sweet.
a question? then?
Sure, go ahead.
So, is it unusual to only have this many people bid on this?
There were 3 bidders for some of this work in here. That wouldn't be completely surprising. There is a lot of work out there right now.
What if we have another company that I reached out to that has no idea about the bids? And they would love to actually put a bid in on it too. What would the process be in timeline if we were to open it back up? Because it's a local Laingsburg company.
I think I can let Chad answer that one.
Yeah, that would kind of ruin the integrity of our bid process.
Okay.
We did publicly advertise. We're gonna add a paper for 2 weeks. And went through the process and, we would have a hard time opening it back up for
Okay.
bidding. If you don't mind me asking, which scope would be, who is it?
Smith gravel and pavement.
We did receive 3 bids in that category. They'd be interested in the,
I didn't give them like the whole depth. I just said, hey, there's a bid out here for a parking lot. You know, do you guys even know about this? Just, and they says, no, we had no idea.
Well, they're the ones that removed buildings.
Oh, you're talking.
Woodhull.
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 No.
Yeah, Woodhull bid on
And
the
it's not the same
project.
thing?
No.
Oh,
Okay,
cause that's Smith is his last name too.
yeah. Yeah, I would say this is a small project. We received 3 bids for the site work package, 5 bids for the asphalt, which was good, and only 2 when we had to call in some favors to get the second electrical bid. It's not a very attractive electrical package. And I don't think the numbers are gonna stray too much from what we saw. But that is why we advertised on Global Exchange and right on.
That's why I think we were looking at originally, trying to get some kind of grant to help pay for stuff. And that the school kind of wanted to move forward quick with it, and then they started doing things, and then it kind of threw us out of the loop for that. So. It's a lot of money.
If it makes a difference, I would add, the total, so this work would be done, well, at cost, with any savings coming back to the city and the school. The,
Well, So my experience with projects like this is there is never any cost savings. It's always over the bid price. Sorry, I know you guys, I
Oh,
know,
and
I'm just saying.
I'm not here to defend this.
Yes, yeah.
I'm just here to answer.
Yeah, I get it.
But and provide information.
Right, Right.
There was mention that there was $84,000 worth of allowances included. I actually come up,
And contingencies.
I come up with 108,000. Well, here's another thing with this. Testing was not included. I got it 2 hours ago, the testing. So I ran a new sheet, which I can pass out to everybody.
Okay.
And so I added up those numbers, which are gonna be different slightly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I had $65,000 in allowances between the site work 15,000, the asphalt 5,000, the electrical 10,000, and then there was $35,000 worth of unsuitable soil allowance. So that totaled 65, and then we add the risk contingency into that, you should be up around,
Okay.
yeah,
So you had a couple of the other ones, ones that I didn't see.
yeah, you should get up around $100,000. That is just contingency, so if it doesn't get spent, it doesn't get spent, but to your point, we didn't put it in there because we weren't anticipating spending,
right.
right? It's in there for a reason, but it is a little bit of a guesstimate.
Right.
So obviously the bid came in higher than we were expecting, and we have a lot of expenses as far as the lagoon that we didn't expect that is coming down our way as well. And other things too that we have on our plate. And so I feel like we need to think those things through as well.
Thank you.
I was in such a hurry to print it, the divided by 2 cost didn't print. You can see I printed it, 40 minutes ago or something. So I was literally running out the door and, I got this number from the testing company, so. But my point is, there's $100,000 worth of, in these numbers that I just handed out, and there should have been close to that before, between these, because that's the only percentage driven item that would change.
I saw that one, and then you had this. And then these others are these built into the.
Yeah, and they're identified on the individual tabs here. Deduct C and allowances 15,000.
Okay.
So each one of the individual tabs. is there. But that's really all the contingency or allowances that are built in there. But I did want to point that out just in complete transparency. I think that's all the comments I have, unless there's any other questions.
Okay, so we are looking at a delta of $191,000 of what we had already approved. Is this council okay with that? Do we need to do some investigation on where we can get that money? How we can get that money? Are
Didn't we think we had that money already kind of with? We had it somewhere, was it?
The ARPA money.
The ARPA money covers
We
the
didn't see
150.
that, 150.
About, I mean, I think, if I remember right, the ARPA money was 140 something.
Yes, yeah.
No, there's an additional 190 on top of that.
Additional 190 on top of that, right? I wouldn't be concerned if this was going from 150 to 190.
Right.
Okay, I think we could squeeze that out,
Right.
right?
And in our finance meeting tonight, and talking to our treasurer, it doesn't seem like that's in our budget to be able to swing an additional 190,000.
I don't think it's. Not with the lagoons that we have coming up, not with the generators that we haven't even paid fully for yet. We have the DNR grant that we're gonna have to match. And all the other projects that, that could come down the pipes. What would have been more ideal is going through and trying to get a grant. To begin with. I mean, that would have been great.
Obviously, it'd be nice if the school was here to talk about it.
Right.
But
But we could.
I would say, no way, there's no way.
Yeah.
I think,
And I'm gonna vent. Paula was all ready to go get that grant, was confident we could get that grant, and the school said, no, we're moving faster than that.
I'll stay to get the
we would have had it by now,
You know,
It's-
but we were sure
down.
that it would be happening last fall.
so it happened without our knowledge, they were already ripping buildings down and some other expenses that, you know, they had. It's like, wow, they're moving fast, like, wow, we didn't even know about it. So
Well,
they
we
moved
just
ahead
got the
quicker, and,
invoice Put on
Yeah.
table here.
yeah,
Well,
So,
that's
you know,
the other
we're
thing.
not yelling at any, it's just.
I came in after that.
Yeah,
yeah.
I was gonna say that, but, you know.
Oh, question, the unsuitable soil, is there contaminated soil with that tank that was there?
My understanding, that was done before we were involved.
Okay.
Is that the soil was pumped out by an environmental company, taken away, and the clean soils were put back in.
Clean, okay.
Remember they gave us a bill and we paid for half of it.
But the unsuitable soils, could be two things. One, there could, and very likely is still contaminated soils
Yep.
on the site. So included in the revised pricing that you just got handed, is a testing, material testing. And we do that traditionally to test the asphalt, make sure it's the right mix and you've got the right temperature when it went down, and same thing for the concrete, it's the right slump and all this. But also in that price is one of the first things we would do is we would take samples of the soils, take that to a lab, get it tested, because that was not included in the 485 page phase one and due care plan that.
Oh.
And the earthwork contractor is gonna need that analytical soils report to give to Granger. So that Granger can say, yes, I will take that soil, but that's representative sample of what's over there.
Hmm.
I will take that soil, and that comes as a premium, that I don't, if that wasn't factored into the previous numbers that were shared, that is a premium. They're like $40 a yard to take those soils to Granger versus just, you know, a local yard around here. Because, yeah, you gotta handle them with proper care.
Can somebody talk about not doing parking lots, roads? I don't know, right? But I look at the numbers for excavation, 377 for one bid, 482 as being seeming to be enormously high, right? I mean, in my simple mind, I go, get a bulldozer out there for a week, you know, smooth it out. And you're gonna charge me $500,000 for that? Again, why is that number so high? What's in that number? I guess is what I'm asking.
What's in I gave you my.
He's asking in the
What's in
earth.
the-
Earthwork and site.
Yeah, what's in that number?
It's
So that,
what?
yeah, it's all the excavation.
Mhm.
Which is inclusive of the underground storm. Backfilling with, hauling all that spoils off. All the spoils that come off this site have been assumed to be going to a class 2 landfill, which is premium. Backfill with class 2 sand,
Sorry, that was included in the base bid?
that was included in the base bid. Also, all soils are to be assumed to go to class 2.
Why,
If that analytical result came back that it was, quote, hazardous and it had to go to Detroit, that's. gonna
That's
be-
where the.
That $35,000 allowance is not even gonna cover that. Right. But
why was
it's
that assumption made?
based on the 485 page due care plan and phase one environmental? It's the best assumption we can make based off that information. All the aggregate base are underneath the concrete, and this is, you know, based on alternates and non-alternate generalizing. Aggregate base underneath the asphalt. The concrete, all the curb and gutter is in that excavation number, because that's how we packaged it. Again, very small package, so to try to draw contractors' interest, we try to bundle it together. And then, landscape. That's what's in that $377,900. No,
Right. Because that's the one that blows it totally out of the water. I mean, that's
well, there's three numbers, right? And that's the cheapest one, right? And those.
well, but I'm saying
talking about two
you take
local
that
guys,
and you
too.
take the paving and you take the electrical, I mean, they're minuscule compared to
Yeah.
that.
The consideration of it being non-hazardous contaminated really cranks up the cost on what the materials coming off the site. So that will play a big.
Yeah,
You
typically,
didn't have any additional breakdown besides what's here to see what that really was.
no, that's about some.
Yeah.
You're saying if it does come back that it is contaminated, then that it would be more than this?
It contaminated beyond a level that a class 2 landfill would take. What that level is, I don't know if you can speak to that, but I can't.
Yeah, can you get into different materials that are acceptable at particular levels of contamination?
Okay.
So normally we're talking about either non-hazardous contaminated materials where it needs special handling to be for landfill use, but it doesn't typically require a large amount of additional protections for the persons working with the work equipment. And it does open up the number of places that can go. When it doesn't have that designation of non-hazardous contaminated, that could go just about anywhere. And that means that your trucking distances end up being less and your haul off costs end up reducing because if you are paying, you're not typically paying as much to haul the material off. Non-hazardous contaminated puts it into landfill requirements, so now you're paying the landfill, plus those sites are typically not as close to the construction site, so you end up hauling the material a long ways, and these are essentially trucking jobs.
So again,
Moving material on and off the site, it's the cost of trucking it.
so again, stupid person asking a question. Why do we need to remove all that material? Why does it have to be replaced?
We need to be able to have an appropriate base material to support the loads for that. And with the amount of area that's being disturbed on the site, you're at least taking out that aggregate base thickness and the asphalt pavement thickness. And then in the areas with the sidewalk, you're gonna have you're gonna end up with sand base or such, and then the sidewalk. So, well, it doesn't seem like a lot when you look at it across the entire site, it ends up adding up with the total volume. If we had some green space, additional green space on the site, we might be able to lose some of that material there. But there's just not that much here to work with. And then there's not very many other places to just haul it to besides landfills.
So I'm gonna ask maybe an off the wall question, and you all may not know the answer to this. Was the same assumption made for the amphitheater? Because we noticed the same thing, that the earthwork and site utilities were same ballpark for that. So I have to assume the same thing was done with that.
I don't recall.
Again,
Yep,
I know that's an off the wall.
Different package,
Right.
but there was a lot more earthwork in that project because it had expanded across the
Yep.
larger area.
Get that,
for it,
yeah.
so.
Yes.
Were you, when you saw that bid? Did you think, it was more than you expected, or?
It was higher than I was anticipating, but I also wasn't aware at that point that the non-hazardous contaminated materials were associated with that. Percentage wise, when we've talked before, the bidding market is just really tough to nail down right now. It's getting better for us to be a little more comfortable with what to anticipate. It's not near as rowdy as it had been a couple years ago. But I see these numbers going up and down, and a lot of it depends on the type of work that's happening. In this particular case, we have the single parking lot. There's not really anything else that's added into that. So being able to entice the right-sized contractors that are able to do that work effectively and that are willing to work around some of these materials, it's a little trickier. So you can see a little more premium cost from that perspective.
And it isn't something that we as a city could help with some of the work to put our,
There might be some potential
Kind of
for
piggybacking off of that too, I was just wondering, is there any way that we could move that soil without any environmental rules being broken, I guess, to a different, our compost site over by the lagoons, make a pile of dirt that never gets used. I don't know. Could we just dump it there instead of hauling to dump it at a high cost?
Dave
facility?
says no.
you know, and maybe it's a terrible idea, but I don't know. But
Okay,
if we
okay.
can dump a few dump trucks there and save $200,000 by,
Yeah.
you know, moving it to a different area.
But what I was thinking is what my point was,
It's more of a-
is if we don't have the cash to give them for some stuff, could we put sweat equity into it? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, could our portion of it somehow be helpful? Because we do have people that can help with some stuff like this.
So
we're
the
gonna.
tricky part would be on how the work is contracted. Now, sweat equity might be something where maybe we don't move forward with like the sidewalk, on Woodall, and then come back and do that afterwards, where that work could be pulled out and done separately, but if you have cost differentials there where maybe it's a little more, but when you take it into account with the working with the whole project, even though it costs a little more for like the sidewalk, I would tend to recommend is to include it, because of the rest of the work that would be going on that site. I don't know if you guys have done any value engineering discussions
No, I
at
think
all.
landscaping could be, I can find out what that's worth and, but I,
That's not gonna be.
we're not gonna move the needle much.
$100.
I don't, my initial reaction to that is the two questions. One, I don't think, I don't know if you would advise as a city engineer, taking contaminated soils and moving it to another site, that would be, that would not be advised by the Chris.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it would be a no-go, but just throw it out.
Yeah, and then the second question about sweat equity, I can't think of any, you're not gonna do the asphalt. You're not gonna do the concrete. You're not,
Moving of the dirt, is that a possibility that we could help with that?
I don't think you can do it in this shed.
You're
It's just a
They
thought.
thought there was.
I know, I
No,
was
it's a good question.
Like he needs anything else.
You got my wheels spinning about like what else could. They did this, the city street light, you know, if you guys wanted to take, you guys were already providing the street light itself. So if you guys wanted to take that on, but that's one of the alternates.
Or we just
Yeah.
smooth it out, throw some grass seed down and see about getting a grant or something to pay for it, cause we don't have money.
So, there's no good way to ask, so I apologize, right? But it sounds like we're making an assumption based on some paperwork that this is contaminated soil. You use the word assumption, right? And that's not gonna change, right? I mean, we're making an assumption, so that cost to handle that contaminated soil is what our cost's gonna be. It's not like we're gonna get into it and find out, oh, this really isn't
Not based on
contaminated.
the, no, I don't, I mean.
I mean, yeah,
He's got
I
the
forgot.
485
I
page
keep looking at
report.
your back. With CPA.
Yeah.
I don't think,
Yeah.
I mean, did you take a look at the Duke Care plan in the?
I need to go back through it, because I've only seen it once and it's several pages in there, but I don't remember.
Wouldn't that gas station was separate?
I, based on what was out there, I would assume that we're gonna encounter at least some. Now, the question would be is if there's some kind of, with it not being a separated item, it gets a little tricky, right? So to look and say, you know, you only had to fall off, 150 yards or something, then we should get some level of credit. Because that assumption was buried in that.
Well, what the contractors, did was any soils that had to be removed to execute the base bid scope and the respective alternates.
Right.
Well, then it was assumed
That they belong.
to a class 2.
Right.
And that's based on the information in the phase 1 and. Once you, I'd be interested in your opinion, once you take a look at the phase 1 and you look at some of the stuff was on that site. I don't think we're gonna get anything better than taking the soils to a class 2. That could be confirmed by spending some more money to get some sampling done to get the
What-
analytical results done.
let's say it's not contaminated.
Yeah.
Ballpark, won't hold you to this, right?
Oh.
How does that number change?
I can't answer that.
Okay, I mean, well, but I'm saying, is it half? Is it a quarter? Is it three? Does it only go down $10,000?
Do you have a guess?
You know what I mean? That's what I'm
You have
at.
a
I mean,
number in mind
are
without
we
it?
talking pennies if it's not contaminated?
It's definitely more than pennies. It wouldn't surprise me if that number, and did you guys have a bulk volume of material being moved off that site?
What the total tonnage was?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that, yeah. If it was, I can tell you that the tipping fee alone was $40 a yard. I believe as well. level service,
40, yeah, for the,
tipping fee to the class 2 land.
What does it do if it goes up to hazardous? If you have to go to a higher class? I'm just thinking about that tank was in there, what if that leak, cause that tank was in there for over 100 years. 'Cause it used to be a gas station. Cause then we're talking more money.
We're
I
talking,
wanna make sure that they know that too, because they probably don't think, there could be more money if it's worse than what we think.
well,
yeah, the allowances, the $100,000 that I mentioned, that's in, would not.
It would
I
not cover.
believe, Adam, correct me if I, you think I'm misstating this, but I don't think we would cover it.
yeah,
Under
under normal,
normally in truck, instead of going to Lansing, west side of Lansing to Grange,
No.
we had to go to Detroit.
It almost tripled.
No.
Well, yeah, I have a question. Did we do any kind of sampling before all this, before the bids and all that stuff? I mean, to see if it's contaminated soil?
You did, there was one environmental study,
So it did show contamination.
what's that?
It did show contamination.
Yes,
in
yeah,
the paper.
and that's what I'm saying, based on all that information, I don't anticipate we're gonna get any results that are gonna say that it's gonna be any better than taking to a class 2 lane.
yeah, the only way that we would be able to get around that would be to do testing on each load that's going off the site. So now there's, with what savings there may be to try to catch the couple loads that would probably not hit some level of contamination, you'd be spending in on-site testing. And it may have an impact on what the contractor is willing to do, because it could slow their process down.
I'd like to make a. I'd like to keep the 150 that we had discussed. And I'd like the city to look into a grants on our behalf. I know it's gonna hold up this project. I don't know if the school want to pay this kind of money and they'll have this kind of money, I guess. But with the lagoons and everything like that, I feel like
we don't
not
have
being
funding.
able to look for a grant in this time frame, we could have had our money, I think, set for this. And I feel like we are stewards of our, this city money, and we have these lagoon things and other things that we're looking for.
Well, I'm kind of, I'm gonna ask another question. If we do what Marcy suggested and just make it plant grass, smooth it out, plant grass, do we need to move any of that soil? We don't care about, we're not putting it under pavement. I mean, is there concerns, health concerns if we don't do something with that? I mean, is there health concerns today?
I need to double check on the
Got it.
do care plan again.
Yeah, again, you see, but see, I mean.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
tell the school, okay, you can do your bus circle. But parking lot, we're not doing anything with, we'll smooth it out, we'll make it grass.
Until we, at another time, maybe we get a grant or something to help. I know it's gonna cost more down the road,
Right.
but maybe we can have them come up with the money to be able to afford to do everything that needs to be done there.
Right, I agree.
Chad, and you may not know this, is the school aware of all this? I mean, I don't know if they've had a meeting to go through this, like the school board.
I don't know if they've had a meeting to go through it. Matt Shassel, superintendent's aware. He has not received the sheet that you all received tonight, but he received the previous version you had in the package.
You had mentioned earlier, though, that they're prepared to go into half, so they're at least aware of like the ballpark figure.
That's my understanding.
Sure.
You want to confirm that with Matt?
But you believe that they're at least aware that of the range of price that we're looking at. So that.
On their website.
Well, Adam, just fly a crazy question.
Mhm.
What if we put like 4 inches of millions in there for right now that suffice a parking spot? As we go through the grant process, or will we just put green space? Is that
just
a
to
big
cover the
Just to
site
get-
itself.
Yes. Is
Yeah,
that an issue?
I would want to, I'll double check that due care plan and the
Okay.
phase 1, just to make sure, because some of those they want to see the ground open, some of them they don't.
Okay.
So in that case, you're not sealing the ground
Correct.
essentially, so mill tailings would provide some level of support. You are going to be building up a little bit. Now, keep in mind, there'll be another thing you have to fall off.
Right.
If.
I'll be happy to take it if we're gonna get rid of it.
Yes.
So
But
it's
we
just a
could- we
thought
could-
process. That way we can get the parking space that they need. We can go through a proper process and try it instead of this rush thing that the school wants to do. And that way we can get it set up so we can actually get the proper funding in there for it. That's just a thought
It's
process.
been 3 years. I get exactly where you're at, but yeah, it's been, and I'm not sure, and I don't wanna speak for the school, I'm not sure how important the parking is to them. It's that bus route,
Right.
better way of having parents drop off and buses getting it, right? The parking is a plus, I mean, I think but I don't know that they're doing it.
And obviously it would be beneficial to do it
Yeah,
all at
right.
once. The money savings and everything, but.
Haven't had that parking, I haven't had a parking lot there ever.
No,
I mean,
Right.
with my kids being older and in, late in middle school, what's another couple years of not having a parking lot?
Being
there?
used as a parking lot today.
Right, I mean, I've parked on it,
I park on Route 2.
right,
People do
Yeah.
work out.
I mean, it's kind of a bummer deal. You look at the properties the city's bought.
Right.
And now the school's included in this, it's contaminated. And then same thing with the elevator, it's contaminated. It's like getting hosed, city's getting hosed, buying this, paying top dollar, I think, for what it is. Then getting hosed down the road.
all right, so we have a motion, did you finish your motion, Gail?
Yeah, the motion was for $150.
I said to keep the $150,000 and look for a grant. Is what I feel like we should do.
So
at
if the
this
school's
point.
willing to eat the rest of it, then you.
I'd be okay with that. Give them
Well,
$150,000.
Yeah, yes,
But they're not
right,
gonna.
yes, I'm sorry, I was going somewhere else. When you were saying, but if the school's fine with us paying $150,000 and them eating the rest of it, sure, go ahead, great, right? Where I was going was, normally with a grant, you can't start the construction until the grant is, so. That's what I thought. It was. So, do we have a motion? Do we have a second? Do we have another motion? Well, do we want to table this?
Yes. I make motion table this.
I'll second that.
And what are we gonna
At
do
this
in the
point.
meantime?
Well, I think that the school board will have a meeting here in a week or so. See what their thoughts are, knowing that we've,
Probably have to go and go to the school.
Can we look
Okay.
at,
I like the meeting.
RJ's got something.
can we look at different, if there are options for grants, that way next month, when we get back together, we can say, these are the XYZ grants that could help us. Do we go, right,
Well,
because we don't even know if there's any out there.
I think that, and I don't know this for sure, when Paula found the grant last year, it was like, wow, we got this opportunity to get this grant, it doesn't come along very often.
Right.
Right,
Right, was
Right.
my take, I don't know if that's if that was right or not, but.
the MML came out with a pretty awesome program that they're supposed to be launching this month, and I'll check in on it tomorrow. But it's a hub where it's like a help desk for grants, so basically someone that's allocated for regions, whatever, and you just ask like, hey, we're looking for a grant that is XYZ, and they'll send us like a questionnaire, we fill it out, and they'll help us find those grants. So I'll check in, I haven't heard anything, it is the first, so, I'll see if I can find anything about it, at least like a pathway for us.
It'll be beneficial, reach out to NCDP,
Mhm.
get a hold of Justin, because they'll.
Yeah.
Same things.
I can do that.
He just sent out, did you get the one on the? He just sent out something today, or maybe it was Friday. Anyway.
Yeah.
But they got money, which I wanted to, so maybe, I don't know what the,
I mean, and the school may not know that there's options out there to do this, but I mean,
The
that's,
school didn't seem to care.
Yep.
I mean, just being blunt, they didn't seem to care, right?
Right.
And we're like, we really would like to get a grant, well, we want to get it done,
Right.
okay. We'll have it done this fall, okay.
I think we'd all like to get it done.
Oh, I agree. All right, we have a motion on the table to table it. I want to ask for a little clarification. It was,
Follow up for grant.
and follow up, was that in the
Yes.
motion?
Yes, to follow up to see what kind of grants we get to help out.
And we have that seconded, so Marcy made the motion, Gail seconded it.
So I have a question, I guess. My motion was similar and it was still saying we would offer the 150. Is hers not offering the 150 then?
Not at this point.
So you don't want to offer the 150?
Well, what are we gonna do? Because
Wasn't
it's
that
not
last
like we
year?
can move along with this right
and
yet.
isn't that already locked in unless we change it, because that's been passed in the past?
Yes.
Right, because we were paid, we had to pay for the other
My
stuff.
motion is kind of the same as
Right.
my motion.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
No, I mean,
Without the
if the
money.
school is magically willing to take on the rest, then we could still move forward today because we've already approved.
We've already approved the 150,
Right.
so unless we make a motion to retract that offer, that is still set.
Right.
Right.
I mean, it does seem like a long shot that they will accept it.
Right.
I mean, I think we can go back and say, we're not gonna approve anything more at this time, and we're kind of tabling it unless you guys are willing to keep them
And
remaining.
look for grants.
Yep. I
I
agree.
I would agree with that.
Yep.
The 150,000 is still,
How is that
Who wants to do it?
communicated to the schools?
I can call them if people are okay with it. You don't want me to, I won't.
Yeah. I would like you to.
There, that or so that you keep track of it, send them an email of it.
Yeah, I can-
This is what we approved up here at the council
I'll
meeting.
probably do both.
I think you need to CC people on it.
Yeah.
Like Kim and Danielle.
Yep.
So that they know.
What
what's-
time frame does that
That way it's all in there.
change if we don't approve the anytime soon?
Technically, the bids are held, in 30 days
30 days?
from, we took these bids,
Then the bids come in on like March 8th.
So then it can-
I can't remember when I got the email.
Is the April Fool's Day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
it is.
Or is it cheaper next month?
All right, so we have a motion. With table it, we're gonna look for grants. The 150,000 still in place, so, everybody, any other discussion? We're ready to vote on that? There is holler, but trying to keep us moving here a little bit. All right, all in favor of that motion, say aye. Or do we need to? No, all opposed, say aye. Okay, that motion has been approved. It has been tabled. I will contact Matt and I will send him an email. I will see him and Danielle and we'll go from there. All right. Next item, fire millage.
So basically what it is the, we need to, basically need to approve the language here so that they, that can be put on the ballot.
So just a reminder, and correct me if I get this wrong, right? Last year, we had to do the millage for the rescue for the paramedics to be able to pay
Correct.
them more. This is the same thing only
Nope.
for the fire department.
Yep, so, because it's been over 40 years or something that they've been at the rate they're at.
Yeah.
And it's just not cutting it for what they need for their equipment. And so basically, it looks like it's, I don't know if you guys read it, but it'll go up to 2 mills is where the wording is, from 1 mill to 2 mills.
Like 29 to 80 mils.
I know when we did the other one, they kind of gave us an idea what a person's.
Well, it says it right here, which is equal to $2 per thousand of taxable value of all real and personal property
But I think they said something that was kind of like.
for 5 years.
For trash pickup is almost like Kevin,
Yeah,
like it really was only.
it was like $35 a year.
No, it's $300.
$300, yeah,
Yeah,
30,
yeah,
35
right.
a
Yeah.
month.
So cheaper than your trash. and
Yeah, that's right.
Everybody else, so
That was the example. they used.
everything's going way up for equipment. And they've got a lot of old equipment.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve this?
I make a motion.
Okay, do we have any more discussion on that? Any more?
That's just basically if the wording looks okay, you know, to appear on the ballot.
Right, so it has to be voted on then.
Yeah.
By the people.
Sure.
Yep.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say aye. That motion has been approved. Approve or denial to close the streets for pancake breakfast.
Same setup as the past.
I want to see that.
Yeah.
No.
Color coded.
I make a motion to approve the street closing like we always have.
Second.
Any more discussion? I mean, this one seems pretty cut and dry. Dave, you don't want
The pancakes aren't dry.
We're making it bigger because of that.
it? All right, all in favor of closing the streets for pancake breakfast, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say aye. Okay, street closure has been approved. All right, planning commission. Annual report and master plan review.
Yeah, I did.
Okay,
The
you were hiding behind RJ, sorry.
planning commission, is required to do an annual report every year. And with RRC best practices, they also complete a master plan review. So what you have in your packet is something that they already have approved. And it just goes to city council for you all to see what they've done in the past year. The only thing that they changed with the master plan review is that they were hoping to focus more on it, accessibility in the parks. Through hopefully grant opportunities, but just keeping that as one of the priorities.
Handicapped accessibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just, yeah,
So this doesn't require anything of city council, it's more just information to know what the other boards are doing.
okay, any questions?
Is this part of the group where the planning commission is supposed to go to other meetings as well? Is that part of this?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Yes, that's,
I thought there were like three groups, the
that's the
DDA,
DDA
council, and
and planning. All right. Anything else on that one? Mural update, Olivia.
Yeah. So by the request of last meeting, I contacted Shirley to, which is the mural artist that you all approved, with the recommendations that you all gave. I received 2 emails with feedback, so I sent the ideas that I received from council members back to her. And we chatted over the phone, because there was a lot of different ideas and it was too much for one mural. We both were, we want to stay with the focus of community because that's what the RFP asked for and that's what we have requested of her, to begin with. So like what I said, we determined that it'd be just too busy with a bunch of different focus areas. So we're still focusing on community. The Connections mural didn't have a lot of edits from anybody, so that one pretty much just stay the same, other than some words are going to be changed. I passed along the ideas that the 2 folks had and, the Jelinix or the clothesline board, I think, was going to get back with, some suggestions that they also had. As for the Central Pharmacy mural, the new sketches in the packet, I believe. So there's a lot greater focus on the downtown area and then it transitions into more of the nature and park and bonfire vibe, like going outside of town. So her thought was that it was like moving from downtown to more of the rural parts of Laingsburg. So she focused on the springtime festival, so the carnival, then the pancake breakfast, and music in the park, with folks participating in all of those, and then, like I said, transitioned into more of a rural setting.
is she open to ideas? Well, I'm just asking.
Sketches are a lot of work for mural artists. I think that she was overwhelmed with the amount of changes that needed to take place. One of her suggestions, if we were to do it again, because the council passed an RFP that just had a theme of community, very broad, not to do that if you know you don't want it to be broad and you know what you want it to do. So I don't know that she would do a full sketch for us again.
And I think this has been a learning experience for the council. So,
And, I mean, we had a timeline last month to provide her feedback too. It sounds like only 2 of us did that.
Forgot all about it, got busy. And I saw it was too late, I'm like, oh, that's what it was Friday, 'cause it's supposed to be on Friday.
Yeah,
didn't
we had
have
to
them
turn
on.
it in before
Yeah,
she got back. I think
Yep.
Olivia on Monday.
So my understanding is that we're gonna
Yep.
paint this, the, wall of color first and then put this.
Yeah, she requested, because it's gonna, the location moved to Central Pharmacy and there's a red background right now. That would not, it was too dark and not an ideal color for a bunch of other trying to be bright colors to be on top of. So yes, she requested that it be painted like a light white beige color, and I talked to Dave. And he said that DPW would be able to like power wash the wall and spray paint a base color for us if city council approved the money for like the actual purchasing of the paint, but
That-
labor wouldn't.
And Central Pharmacy was okay with the color and.
I
Yeah. and-
just emailed, he was okay with the first mural. She just got back the sketch to me today, so I emailed Tim today with the new sketch and with the updated plan. I haven't heard back from him. I was hoping that he'd get back to me before 7, but.
But
I was
that
just
wall,
messaging
or
him.
or whatever that, the wall. is
Oh, the
in good
black?
shape, right?
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see what on there, cause doesn't it like have a ripple effect on that wall? Like with the bricks or blacks or whatever?
Yeah.
It's not flat, is it?
Like the three, that's
I'm
where
not
she
looking at
got
it.
the inspiration from these three, cause you can definitely
Yeah.
see like
Yeah,
that these
okay,
bricks.
that's what I
stick
thought.
out. This, I think, will be just like normal painted, cause they're pretty flat laid bricks, but yeah, like the three window shapes are pretty prominent. Which is why she thought it would be cool to highlight different events in each.
I can't wait to see it, I guess, let's do it.
So you're looking for approval to do up to $500 as long as Central Pharmacy agrees to pay to that.
Yeah, and then
Keep that
to
going.
like actually sign a contract with both the property owners and the mural artist moving forward, because I think Jeff would be the signer on those contracts.
I would make that motion to inform the person to approve the $500.
With the approval of.
You're with the approval of the
The artist.
artist
option
and,
I'll second.
$500.
okay,
Dave's hard work.
I really liked her that she put each section on that with those pictures on. think
Yeah, I
that
thought it
looks
was
really
really
cool.
I appreciate the revision.
Yes.
all right. So we have a motion to move ahead with getting signatures for the two murals with both the artist and the building owners, and having DPW spend up to $500 to paint the side of the one building. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
And we've had a second. Any other discussion on that? Just one roll call for you, okay?
Money.
Money.
Approved. Good
Like
point.
$500.
Yeah, all right, roll call.
Peters,
Yes.
Cards,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes,
Miller,
Yes.
Allen. Yes. Giesler. Yes, Giesler.
Yes. All right,
Thank you, city.
yep, all right, budget. A preliminary budget. Danielle, do you wanna take it?
Sure. So this looks different to you guys. I guess you guys are used to getting the BSNA report. So this is how I'm going to be doing the budget, because with the spreadsheet, and I can tinker with numbers and requests and anything that comes our way. I find it easier. If you see the green is what our projected end of our fiscal year is going to be. Department request, I haven't really filled most of that in because I'm in agreement with everything that so far has been requested of our budget. And then the blue highlighted is our recommended budget for next fiscal year. I started putting notes in somewhere for myself. Some of you guys, if you have questions on, you can ask me. The only thing I really don't have done that I explained in the finance meeting is I haven't touched much on the capital projects. That was something that Paula had started in BSNA. So I plan on finishing it, with, our Rod, who's been helping, me. This week, actually, he was coming Thursday, but we're also going to, create a motor pool fund, so that will take smaller. It's a smaller fund, so for the little maintenance things that we have, like if we need to change brakes on something, or something little in the office, or like with the computers, or where the capital project fund, it's great, but if that's a capital, meaning bigger expenses, like replacing a blown motor, or, so I'm gonna work on modifying that to be more friendly for myself and easier to look things up. The biggest concern I have really is the library budget. With their trends, and their revenues and expenses are slowly trending down. To potentially be out of money, so that's something that we're gonna need to probably help with and look at. And also, I brought up last month is with the lagoons and with the generators that we've had, the costs that we're gonna be accruing. We need to look at the sewage rates, increasing to help with that. I mean, it's been decades since those have increased. So, stuff like that. But other than that, this is pretty set. I would say it's 95% to just being, fully complete.
So we looked at it in the finance, and we asked questions and stuff like that, and this is the preliminary budget. And so, the next one will be the proposed budget, and then we have to take it to a special meeting. Okay.
That has to happen in May.
So question, I guess, on lagoons, we had phases that we were doing that in for different things like liners and all that stuff. So are we done with all the phases? The phase work, Dave, or there's still more to go, and that's what this,
Right now, we're still working on the generators, I'm not all in yet, so there's still stuff coming out for that. But as far as the phases, the next steps are gonna get into the cleaning process, and we've already discussed that we're gonna run this around $1 million.
When they dredge the lagoons, can they dredge the parking lot too?
Maybe we could somehow figure that out, smooth the soil.
I don't think we want that water in our parking lot.
Hey, any other questions on the budget? So next one, we will get I'm asking, right? Next city council meeting, we will get a final one to look at. And then in the May, we'll have a special, meeting to approve the budget. All right? So everybody has time on it. All right, perfect. Thank you.
So we don't need to schedule that special meeting until next meeting.
And it will just be on the front of our regular.
No, I think we did it and.
Oh, did we? Okay.
Because I think we have to look at the budget that one time.
Yeah, you can't have it on the
No.
next thing.
Oh, I'm up.
All right, next one, proposed night walk in the park.
So I've been interacting some with the St. John's people, and they have had a night walk in their park. I think they've had 3 now, and they do it around the full moon. And it has, the last one they had over 500 people in their park walking. I have someone that's interested in helping, if we want to consider doing it. I just wanted the council's idea because it's the dark, obviously. And the way that they did it is they took tea lights and lined the paths, and people have flashlights, and it's a way of, having some, they are doing them during the winter all the year round, and we don't have a lot of activities in the winter, so it's just a thought, and I just want to know if anybody was concerned or they thought it was an okay idea, I guess, before I start going anywhere with it.
So wintertime too? Do you plow that path? No. Do you salt that path? No. You will have to solve that, do this.
And we don't necessarily, we can choose not to have it in the winter if we don't
I'm
want
just,
to.
it's just,
Like, we could do it weather, permitted too. If we get a big snow, obviously, we could say, hey, we're not gonna have the winter walk or whatever. And I'm sure it's like anything else. It's gonna start out small. It's gonna be like 5 people probably, but
in
it
3 years, it'll
could
be
grow-
200 people.
yeah, right. But I just wanna know safety wise. There'll be people in the dark.
Right.
Over there.
What about like, I've seen like cool stuff like all the time on campus. People have their like glow, like necklaces and they wear all the stuff that's glows that they got on their dogs and stuff. And it's like, it really lights them up too. It's kind
Yeah.
of cool.
And
see
we can
that.
do all that as far as that. I just wanna know before we spend.
Why is
much
it a
time.
winter thing specifically? I think I missed that part.
It's not,
Year round.
you're right.
It's always on the full moon.
I asked for winter because of snow and salty.
Okay.
So,
So
It
St.
could-
John's isn't just doing it.
No,
Okay.
it's always on the full moon, which is like the 4th-ish time of the month.
They do it every month.
Mhm.
Oh, well.
I think they've only had 4, but it's caught on real quick. And they said they actually brought someone from MSU to come out here and talk with stars with them and stuff. And I don't expect us doing that per se, but I think anything that we can use our part and do and have more activities over there is good. And if I've got someone that has some interest that they want to develop this idea, I have a person that said that would help.
Do we
I
have,
don't know, I should get it right.
we don't have lights down there along that big, wide path there, do we? At all?
No.
I don't know
My
if you're talking-
only concern, John, would be, you'll have to schedule that event, so if that full moon falls on a Wednesday during the summer, problems can't have it.
Cause it's the.
You'll have to do this,
And you don't think they can go on at the same time?
no, not with dogs.
That's true. We've got a lot of dogs though with music in the park.
Why, I'm not disagreeing, why do
Because
dogs
you'll have, like Greg said, you'll have 5, and then you'll have 200 dogs and don't get along with each other.
Yeah.
Or tripping
Yeah.
over cords.
And
and
then
kids
we
over.
could, we're talking, the movies are like 6 weeks or something. We're probably talking 1, maybe month, but we.
Right, that's what I'm saying, we'll have to figure out what week they are.
Yeah, and it might not even fall on that day, yeah.
Would our insurance have an issue with liability walking in the park at night?
I wouldn't.
Because
think so,
technically it's
because
supposed to be closed at
Well,
dusk.
that would be the only thing is that you'd have to ask him, just to make sure that the park is open for this day only after dusk.
Right. I just see people walking on the thing, not seeing the edge of the thing and roll an ankle, and now they're suing the state.
I didn't know it was closed after this.
All the parks are
So
closed.
we're open, I mean.
I mean, we have it.
They're not even using it in the park,
Park,
movies in the
right?
park.
I'm worst case scenario. kind of-
Yeah, no, I get it, I had the same thought,
Yeah.
it's just like, hell, it's open.
And
half
that's
the
good
nights
that
in
we
the
don't
summer.
wanna do it. I'm just saying, it seems like it's working in other people, and I think we're trying to get more activities and more community stuff, and I thought it was a good idea, so I'm okay not doing it. We think it's a risk.
I think it's a cool thing to do. It gets people involved. It's just I want to make sure that we're
Yeah.
covered.
Well, keep the little hooligans out of the pavilion from damaging it probably too. For a night or 2 or whatever.
Do you want me to investigating it?
I'm gonna bring up one other thing. So kind of on the opposite of your point, Dave, one of the things we've seen is movies in the park have been less attended. And we think because somebody said hooligans, right? We think because hooligans are here, and if we had people walking when that's happening, that would cut that down. I mean, we had a couple people, one of us, my daughter, who won't come up to movies in the park anymore because kids, older kids doing things. So it's not just her. I mean, it's just, but she's.
I don't wanna do term. But I wanted to throw out there, if you guys, if you think it's gonna open us liability, I won't do it. I just wondered if we want to or not.
So, I mean, the first step would be talk to insurance people. I mean, I think it's a great idea. Insurance people talk to this person that is willing to help if the insurance is okay with it and it doesn't cost us anything extra.
Imagine that would, but.
I wanted Dan to kind of weigh in too. His thoughts about having, but
Yeah, I think you'd have the police.
Not necessarily.
They don't police, they
Depending on the
don't
day of
police
the
the
week, we have
movies, they don't
police on
police the.
duty, so
Yeah.
lots of them on.
You're sitting in Dan's seat.
I knew that was coming. I was hoping it wasn't.
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't resist.
I cannot speak for him. He
Thank
did
you.
young bucks already today.
Feedback, so.
No, let's talk about this next month when Dan is here.
Sure.
Okay, table it till next month. Anybody have any real big concerns other than what we brought up? So we can get those answered. Okay,
Check on the insurance.
Thank you, Kim.
all right. Inspectors fees. So as you know, we've hired a new inspector. We're no longer using the county. I've gotten good feedback from a number of people. Have come and said he's good to work with. So.
Is he
We'll
reaching
see.
out to people that have,
Things on progress, yeah.
because I have not heard. So,
He's
I
got
just
quite a
don't-
bit.
So,
I don't blame
I have a question, I guess, cause we got all the stuff in the packet from these, other stuff like, inspectors. And then, like plumbing inspectors stuff, because. Like, the guy that was hired for the city, is he gonna be able to sign off like if you got electrical issue?
that's what these folks are. There'll be an inspector fee that the folks will have to pay as part of their building.
Because like the county, when they were doing it, I had an issue at home where I'd have an electrician come in.
Mhm.
And I had to have stuff grounded and there's a bunch of other stuff, but on my panel, I couldn't do anything with consumers until then,
Right.
I think it was Dave Shrinka or something like that. I probably say his name wrong, but
Well, that's right.
he signed off on the electrical. And he also did some of the other stuff, so
I
I
don't
just
know
think it's
what-
kind of weird.
So
that-
Dave could have been approved to do electrical. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if
So
he was or
the
not.
guy that was hired.
Rob
for-
is not, Rob.
Oh,
That's
so-
why Rob wants to bring in a HVAC plumbing guy and. an
Neither was
electrical.
Sylvia.
No.
Neither was Sylvia.
No, they
Right,
all
neither
Because I
was
had
Sylvia.
one
Went to
trick.
different places in
Yeah.
the county.
The county we had to do too.
It's no different.
So like, if I was to have something done at home, let's say we hire somebody here,
You'd still go through Rob. Rob would arrange.
right, but then you're paying extra because, right, cause it's gonna have to go up to pay for
Would
these
be.
people.
But that's what
More.
we're talking about. The fees would cover that, those fees would be built into building.
Cause he's $10,000 a year, correct?
Yes, that's not an additional,
This isn't additional. Okay, yeah.
it's additional, but it's coming out of the fees.
The people are.
Not
that
out of
people
our
are paying,
pocket.
not out
Okay,
of our.
that's why I was
So they
like,
get
oh my
added to
God,
their
Yes.
bill.
that's what I was wondering, okay.
Yes,
Not the city, it's the people that are asking for the inspection.
right. Well, that's why, I mean, and I don't expect that we're going to know what we want to increase, if we want to increase the fees, right?
Is there a way we could get a printout of what was being charged now or whatever before?
I think it was in one of our packets.
And I don't.
What the county was charging, you mean?
Well, yeah, well, I guess what we were paying or what people were paying, were there, because I know like for putting up a fence, you had to pay a certain
Oh,
amount.
yeah, we have
blah, blah.
our zoning fees and stuff like that.
Yeah, is there a way we get a list of that? Cause I guess I don't remember seeing it packet, but
Yeah.
I'm just curious and then maybe go off from that and gauge it onto this to see
Yeah.
if we are gonna. And how
And that's
much.
exactly what we want to do. Want to get Rob's input on that also, right? I mean, we may be charging $10 for a permit for us putting up a fence and that's silly low, right? We may be charging $3,000 to.
I think it was like
do a fence.
$25 when I know I pulled a permit for a fence, but that was quite a long time ago.
Right,
So I think we get a list of
There's a
what
zoning
the
and a
county's
building.
fees were, and we
So
have it, have Rob look over it, make any suggestions that he thinks of things that we should increase or decrease, or maybe we across the board make a $5 increase or whatever.
Right.
But I think these people we're trying to figure out, so they
Yeah,
can
we
have
need
these
to-
people.
Yeah, you need to approve these guys or not approve these guys, because we need to have them on a contract,
right.
because they're already being.
So Rob got a hold of these, or put something out there for these guys, is that what the deal is?
These are guys that he's worked with. We knew this was coming,
Oh,
right?
okay.
It's-
Cause I see two of them out of Grant or out of East Lansing, I'm like,
right.
Yeah, he said he had a couple that he likes working with because
Right.
they're effective.
And this is a sample contract that we would make for each individual,
oh, gotcha.
I like.
Which I'm surprised you don't come up with one. And then-
this is kind of his contract that he,
Okay, that, to these guys or whatever.
yeah, but this would be, he just put it for one, but this is a sample of what each one of these guys would have as a contract.
So we need approval for these guys that he wants to get in here.
So do we have to make a motion?
Yeah,
for that?
so I'll make a motion to approve his people.
I'll second.
Okay, any other discussion, any other questions? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say aye. All right, then, so motion approved. All right, plans for marijuana payment, so I heard that the city is getting what, $54,000 or something?
59.
59, yeah, okay.
Very good.
And just, I mean, what do we want to do? We could put it towards parking lot.
Well, we need some more pot shops in town though.
I think by what we read in here that we're required to put in our general fund and put it in the thing, but I think we talked about before using some of that money for the kayak thing.
I think it'd be smart to do that, then we are pulling from it either. But
think before the
Gail
kayak-
said, sorry.
Before the kayak thing, we have to figure out what we're gonna do with the lagoons. I
Yeah,
mean, that's a,
true.
that's
Yeah.
a necessity where
I
the
agree.
kayak thing is we want to do it.
Right,
I mean, yeah,
well, and we are still waiting for final plans for the kayak. I mean, we have what they were 2 years ago.
Right.
We need that updated, so.
But in essence, this money comes in the general fund, we can
Yeah.
use it where we want to.
If we wanna move, cause yeah, the state mandates where, what a general letter account that goes into, like, we have no choice of where it comes into where it hits our general fund. From there, technically it gets absorbed unless we put it into like a capital project fund.
But it can just stay where it goes in initially.
And
Until-
it has to actually
un-
go in there.
So it goes in there and then it can just stay until we say, hey, we want to use it for this, and then you move it.
Do we
And
earn,
unless it's a whole fiscal year, then that's absorbed. It's already, if we go a whole fiscal year without allocating it anywhere else, then we just absorb it with all of our expenses. Because it's in our general fund, and then we pull all of our expenses out of the general fund into all the other accounts.
Never lose it anyway.
No, we don't lose it, but it's just being absorbed and it's being used with all of our general expenses that we already. Are accumulating. Yep.
is there a specific area that would gain more interest? We can,
I like, RJ's thought of putting it over into a capital fund for the lagoons. I mean, it's going to be pricey.
Like,
It doesn't hurt. I like both that and I like the idea of.
we're just put
having
it in an
it-
account, let it grow until we absolutely need it for lagoons, because that might be, well, you're down the road. Looking right at Adam.
We had the sheet, but I didn't grab it. I think it was a 5-year plan.
I'm just thinking, if we
Yeah,
can
we
get
still
59,000, get it 62,000, hey, free money.
Right.
And then we can put money towards the lagoon. So just a thought. But it needs to come in the general fund anyways, we just need to transfer it over to another fund.
Correct.
And what do we earn the best interest on? In one of those funds, and I don't know. That's a you question, I don't know what we get interest.
Well, I mean, I guess it's really up to, I give you my recommendation. I say either, it goes in, yeah, it should go in that capital fund, but it either goes. And we allocate it specifically for lagoons, or it's gonna keep it coming every year, unless we get rid of that or the state rids our, share. It's something that can accrue. We could even do 50-50 or remove half of it to a lagoon capital, project fund, and then half of it goes to maybe the DNR grant. And there's that option,
What are we looking for?
if we want.
Just exactly what we're getting, discussion.
Okay.
We're not looking for, a
Yeah, you
motion,
don't
we're not looking for a thing. And so do we need to get the water, the part of the plant, do we need to get that back on and review that again? Or is that still a ways out before we're talking about doing something with it?
The ponds,
Ponds.
I think they're they're a little
I
ways.
mean, I remember we talked about it
We'll know,
6 months ago.
yeah, we'll know more after I do the sludge dredging this spring and
Okay,
And Adam gets the numbers crunched down, so we know what we built from when it started till now,
So
so.
when that happens, let's get it back on, let's review it with the council. Just, there may not be anything we have to do at that point, just so we know. Okay,
What do we owe on the generators that we just had to put in out there?
That was around, that was 140. 140, I believe, that we've seen 30-some thousand of that has been invoiced into the.
Yeah, we're still waiting on some electrical work at the Mercury Road one, and the main generator is not even there yet, so.
But are we getting hit with interest on that?
I think we had that money set aside, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had that
Yeah,
money.
there's
set aside.
there's 120 that I found when I was doing the budget, that is in the capital project.
Okay, that's probably the general.
So that's, I mean, that covers most, the majority of it.
Right, but if, I mean, if we're taking a, right now, interest rate 6 to 8% hit, it would make more sense to use that 59,000 to pay that and not lose 8% a month.
We'll shrink my money. I'll agree with that.
Exactly.
okay. Any other thoughts on that? All right. Next, check-in treasurer and clerk. You know, one of you want to go first, how things are going, any issues, any problems?
I'm still here.
Okay.
Me too. Well, it was, some of you may know that I went to training last week. It was my third and final year, so now I get some letters behind my name. The next step is to be a certified municipal clerk, which, I should be able to finish by the end of the year, possibly. So, but yeah, just getting all the rules and
So to add
regulations
it to your.
Yeah. Yeah.
She got a fancy plaque.
I was just gonna ask if she got.
I
certificates
did.
and stuff.
First I had to, do it all, and then I had to go apply for it online when I
Oh,
got
that's
back.
exciting. It's a good achievement. you
Yeah,
got.
yeah, 3 years of,
Proud of
yeah.
you, because I couldn't do it.
Thanks. It's a lot of information. The book is like that big now that
Right.
I went through, so, yeah, it was good. Well, yep, and just trying to keep up with all the rules and regulations and laws.
Anything we can help with, council? Thing,
Just reading your packets and being prepared. It's pretty much all a clerk ever asked for. And that's not just you guys, all the boards.
Are you good for the election?
Yep, I'm getting ready for the August one, but I'm taking
You
the
got
breather right
help,
now.
so.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I have a very good, inspectors that, I trust, and they've been working together since I've been here, so we work pretty good together, so thankfully, that's a good thing. So, yeah,
I just.
but yeah, we're still learning all the laws, so. There'll be new things for this August that there weren't for February, so. Elections.
go ahead.
Scared when they both look at you.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been just over 30 days, so I'm learning a lot, and I'm still here, and I plan on staying here. I love what I'm learning. So the girls up front are welcoming and help wherever I need it. I just yell across the way and answer. I appreciate your guys' approval to get Rod from Manor, though, because he's been extremely helpful. And is always there for me, so that has been a godsend, really, to be honest.
We see the $10,000,
Mm-hmm.
how are we doing on that budget, if you
I
will?
don't know, I don't got a
Yeah,
bill yet.
haven't got a bill yet, but I will see him this week, and I'll see if he has, if he's one with him.
So you have an idea what you use.
Um,
No, I think, because I know there
Yeah.
were
Oh,
different
yes,
rates
it's
based
been-
on
yeah,
who was,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So I've been very impressed in what you've picked up in 30 days, because governmental is
Complex,
animal in
that's what Rod
itself.
said. Rod said it's very complex.
Yes, it is.
There's still a lot to learn, but I mean, I love what I've been learning, and I continue, reach out to Rod when I need him, and They'll be here this week, like I said, to help with the setting up of the different funds that I want to start implementing, so.
Is it what you kind of expect or no?
Yeah.
I mean, is it,
I love numbers anyway, so, I mean, there's just. Government and business are completely different animals, so
that's
that
what
part-
that's what I kind of meant, you know what I mean? So,
they're definitely different. But yet the same, I mean, you still have the same principles behind, what you're doing, but. Adam is really helpful in all the acronyms. He every email, he spells out all the acronyms for me.
I'm trying to make sure I do that.
Yeah, so when he came in and I met with him and he was saying these things and I was just like. That was long. Don't know what that
Yeah,
means.
government loves acronyms, Ian.
Yeah. But
Okay, anything we can do?
I mean, getting Rod was really. Big,
Okay.
super helpful.
All right, and then I think your biggest priority at this point is the budget, getting that done, and but it sounds like you're in good shape on that, so.
Yeah, I'm making headway on that. I think it's almost done. There's just little things here and there that, like creating the spreadsheet to track, like, cause I wanna keep it and track for 5-10 years on one sheet. And then, when you guys get it, I'll keep it small, but that way I can see things better. And it'll get easier every year. But it's just finding things now because I don't know how things were before, so.
Well,
It's
and
like
we,
a year cycle, and it's like once you get through a year and you start doing it again.
and we knew that, I mean, we lost 20-some years of experience. And both of you, Kim, you've been here 3 years. You're still gonna be learning.
Oh, yeah.
Hell, you're still gonna be learning 5 years from now, right? So both of you are gonna go through a big learning curve. And hopefully it gets smaller as we go on. So I'm happy with you guys' progress and how you're doing it and where it's going. So thank you very much for your attention and the detail and learning all that. stuff. Okay, anything else? Any other questions for them? Okay, checks and balances of the city. I'm glad to see this one on here. One of the things when I was, I'm not gonna say approached about becoming the mayor was checks and balances of the city and the concern that we had with how it was being done. So we've gone a year and a half and I think this is a good thing. We've gone through some changes. I think we've gone through some heartache. I don't know what I want to say. So this will be a good thing to kind of work through and figure out. And I want everybody to make sure we keep the interest of Laingsburg at the top of mind, not interest of a personal nature. And we're all here for Laingsburg and wanted to do the best for the city. So,
We talked about it in the finance, and I think it makes sense to do it now because we split the clerk and the treasurer up, and I think what they've got working here is, good. We added a few things we added.
thank you.
Like who was doing the payroll, who was doing the hours, who's doing it's some things we talked about adding. So I think it's a work in progress, but I think this is I think needs to be done and it's a good thing to do.
The other thing, if I did something improper with the whole bank account, I want to apologize. That was not my intent. We had a case, like I said, with Paula left, needed to change it. I think I did email everybody on the council saying this is what we're doing. I mean, I'm going back to November and there was Christmas and I could be remembering incorrectly, but I believe I did. And then the next council meeting, we went over it. So I tried to stay, because I am a big believer that I have no more power than Randy, RJ, Greg. I have no more power, right? I run the meetings. I can deputize somebody, right? If something's happening. And that's about it. So I can't. And I'm the seventh vote. I'm not a tiebreaker. I am the seventh vote, right? I have the same vote as everybody else. So I'm
I mean, I guess that's the glorious thing about being elected,
right.
Yep.
So
The only thing I do want to say is that I like the fact that I feel like we just need to communicate.
I think that having open communication with Kim and with Danielle, I like the fact that they're both here. I know that it doesn't have to happen every time, but I liked that we checked in with you because I know working in an office is not easy, and I know your guys' job is underappreciated. So we do thank you for everything that you two do. And I know that it was kind of being thrown into the mesh, but you are appreciated more than you know. Thank you. But we'll try to keep communication because I think that's key.
And I think you really did step up and follow up. I mean, that was a lot.
Very
Having
much
somebody-
so.
Yeah, I didn't sleep a lot. Just starting to get back to the regular sleep. Of course, I didn't sleep at the hotel, unfortunately. Usually I do, but I had a snore next to me.
Well, you were in the fun town of Mount Pleasant.
Yeah.
I mean-
Yeah, one
Yeah,
time I had a
yeah.
flat tire, I had to get, yeah,
Oh, no.
I had to get my car jumped twice,
No.
yeah, had to buy a new tire.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, that was the half day I had, that's what I did. So, yeah, I was like, I just want to get out of Mount Pleasant.
All right, so you said you had some that was a work in progress? Or
Well,
did
the
you-
stuff that this checks and balances, I think they pulled this together. Yeah, we talked about adding some things to it. I
It's
feel
up
like,
to 83, right? Is that kind of
yes,
Yeah, okay.
3-column?
we asked who was taking care of the hours. I mean, I think she's gonna make a treasurer, deputy, clerk, council, so she's gonna add a column. I think she's gonna interact with the accountant and, you know, based on what MML says and that sort of thing in our charter, what we can do, and so I think it's,
Oh,
but I asked to outline how we handle cash transactions, who has access to passwords, who does the EFTPSs, does the ACHs, the payroll, keeps track of the hours. I think those things need to be put in someone's column.
With them being in the office, do you think it would be kind of suited for them to be able to see and we go over to see if they placed it in the right spot? Or like their recommendation for where it's going? Because we don't run the office stuff, so knowing what they're actually handling, I think would be a little bit more difficult for us to know.
Well, like the payroll, as far as the hours go, each department does their own hours.
That's
And
just,
then we take,
right, I'm
the
just,
deputy gets it, then she
Okay,
double checks it
approve
all.
to make
Yeah,
sure.
and
Okay.
then the
I
department.
was just curious how that was with the office. I know mine is different like that too, so.
I'm just asking for it to be more written down, like,
Right.
so that when it's more detailed than it is right now. So it's, I think it's a good start. The one question that I had was the utility bills. I thought it was under the clerk. But. it
Well, I
might-
think too, when you guys did the, job descriptions, because it was one
Mhm.
job, when the job descriptions went out, it kind of was like, nobody really kind of paid attention to it, and then we
Right.
split it. And we really didn't, until we,
Then it
until
actually
Danelle
split.
got hired, and she's like, well, I think that's under mine. I'm like, well, it is. I'm like, okay, so I guess it is, but I think that's where we kind of just let that go. And didn't really think about it, because it was gonna be one person's job anyways, so. I think that may have been where some of the, I think, just discussing with clerks this last week, most of them do payroll. The treasurer, they do.
I'm still sophomore sometimes. And
And, like the treasurer did the budget, the clerk did the payroll. I mean, that's just, it's not, I don't think it's set in stone anywhere, but that was kind of
The only reason I was going with utility bills is I thought Lana did it, because I've been around for a while and I thought she was the one that handled it. She was the clerk.
she collected it.
But she just.
I don't know
collected.
who actually physically printed the bills,
Oh.
but she collected. the
Cause we
bills.
had another one in the office too.
Cheryl,
Shirley.
so yeah, she would have collected it like I did as a deputy clerk. I collected the bills now, Patsy does.
Next time I'd give it to her and then. Yeah,
You have to, if it's cash, then you have to have somebody else deposit it.
Yep.
So right now, the way we have it set in the office is Cassie collects it, I take it in because she's doing, I take the cash. Yeah. She records it. Yeah, well, it kind of gets recorded when you take the bill anyway, so, but she oversees the bills being going out.
So. Signing of checks. Should that be you? Should that be Danielle?
She should be doing the taxes. And I should be doing the bills. That gets sent.
We're good with adding Kim?
So we need that kid with the bank
to
account,
the
is that
bank
what you're?
account? Yeah.
Okay.
So we
Do we
make a
need a
motion, make a motion and then approve, and then, so she got paperwork to get the approval.
But I think we should get this all set, have the
Yeah,
the
what can
auditor
you
look
write
at
for
it and then
Okay.
make the.
Why don't we put her on the account now so she can start doing it the right way? Because to
Well-
me, that's three balances right there.
So, yeah, part of what we want is the auditor to verify that it's the right way.
Okay.
Not saying it's not, don't know, right?
Kind of like what happened with that situation,
Right.
just making
And
sure that.
we gotta also say that the attorney and the charter that we're meeting that criteria. I don't feel like. I think we should wait until it's given to us again. And that person's looked over it.
The attorney.
No, the auditor and
The auditor is really the one that we think that he's gonna be he or she is gonna be the one that comes in and says, you're not doing this right. Right?
Do we
But
reach
the
out to
town-
them or do we wait for them to come to us?
That's how part of this was made.
Yes.
Was from what I gotten from him.
Okay.
He's the same one
That's
that's
what the
coming
resources
here.
are.
Is that
No,
the train on Thursday?
no,
No,
that's
that's
not,
not-
he's
That's a consultant.
Oh, it's on.
So who's signing them now?
myself and
Essentially.
Okay. I'm just, is there enough checks and balances? Worst case scenario.
Right.
What's the image if somebody's gonna come in from the city that says, you're embezzling?
Right.
And now we're going down the
So,
lawsuit.
so
That's
there is
the image.
concern about Gail and I both, we don't have any access to anything other than signing checks.
we don't have access to the checks, we don't have access to the checking account, we don't have access to.
I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
but I'm
asking
just
about
saying,
that. I
I'm
Yeah,
just-
yeah, no, no, I'm just, that,
just-
that would be the one concern. I
Okay.
mean, that's the concern, Mark.
Right.
Yeah,
Listening to what my father said, and he's been in this for like 40 years, he's gone through embezzlement issues.
yeah, no.
And it's
that's why-
usually a clerk or a treasurer that's.
Right,
center point.
or a clerk and a treasurer.
Yes, and
Yeah,
I'm
don't
just
take
trying
that
to,
as-
No,
Don't take that-
realistically, it does come up
You
quite
got
often.
it, yeah.
I'm just
So I
trying to
don't think-
figure out a best way to protect
Everybody involved.
and us.
Somebody who's doing both jobs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's where I'm
That's,
coming. from.
that's where.
Mhm.
What is the
that's
best protection?
Yeah, that is where she's dealing with the money. She's writing the checks, she's paying the bills, and I'm signing them because I'm checking to make sure she's paying
Yeah.
the right bills, what accounts they're coming out of, what,
Mhm.
that's
You're
the,
the second set of eyes. for
Yes.
What hers is then.
and then it comes here.
yeah,
And you guys-
and then you guys approve what's done.
So that's right. A balance, a balance, a
I
balance.
mean, when we ask other, I mean, because we're part of so many different associations and they have their own boards where you can ask questions and everyone puts their input. I mean, everyone does things differently. I mean, we had one that's was it the fire chief or the police chief that sign was on there? There was like some place that had like 4 people that signed.
Yeah.
So ultimately, it's up to you guys what you want us to do, right? But I
As
think
long as
that,
there's multiple people.
Right.
You know.
yeah,
that
you
are
have to have a
not-
good checks and balances.
Cause it doesn't make sense to have her having all the money, doing the budget,
No, because
paying the
that
bills, signing the
puts her in
checks.
jeopardy.
Exactly.
I agree.
That's-
There's no,
There
there's
needs to be
checks, and
protection.
there's no way that a council member, unless he's gonna come in and actually go through every single check and know every account,
Right.
is ever gonna be able to check that.
Right.
So that's not a checks and bill.
me signing checks is an awful lot.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, as it should,
Sorry, it
that's,
is.
it's
It
you're
is.
signing for the council.
Yeah.
And the council's responsibility is to look over what we give you every month.
Right.
and-
I mean, that's where I'm coming from is Do we put her on now? If something's changed, it's not hard to take it back off, let's get her on now, so that way.
We just lived through it a few
Right.
times.
I'm just
It's not
saying,
easy.
protecting Danelle would be the priority in getting her on that check.
Yeah, should the auditor come back and say it's an issue, then we take.
Then we change it, but I would rather get that started to protect you.
The blue ink on here, is that from is it Randy?
No, that was just so that we saw it.
Cause I mean, that
Not me, Randy.
state,
No, you're
Yeah.
right.
yeah. I mean, that
This stuff
states,
was taken from the state law.
Right,
Okay.
so I have, like,
I mean,
here's
we-
the,
the
here's the
legislation,
Michigan
they just-
legislator.
Yeah.
Legislator,
I
here's
read,
the
I read.
25
Yeah,
act.
yeah.
I mean, cause that states
Yeah.
treasurer, clerk, mayor, and
But
appointed.
like
Yeah,
Danielle
so
said,
like
every
somebody on the
place is
budget,
different,
you
right?
guys,
That's just
you
kind
know
of,
what I mean?
that's just kind of.
And did this look familiar to you?
And I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just
Right.
saying-
Because
I
that's the
did
class
talk,
that
I
you
did
took.
talk to him,
Yeah.
Randy,
Meter.
yeah, meter, yeah, I did.
Right, just trying to keep my name.
Good old Randy.
I just felt like we needed to put everything in, make sure now as opposed to down the road. And have, it's better to plan now the right way than
Right.
down the road.
I mean,
So he
I
said,
like 3 to 4.
Say that again.
I like
3 to
4.
4.
3 to 4 signers.
Yeah, I don't think we want more than that.
No, I don't, the more hand.
And
Not always good.
right,
And I think the problem with the signers is, it's not that you and Jeff are signing the same check. It's that also means that you and Jeff technically can go to the bank and get money. I know that's not the practice, but as signers on an account, you would be able to do such.
I don't know with our bank.
Yeah, I know.
I'm
Good
sorry,
point.
I haven't heard
Are
that
you
the-
saying that
I really
Kim
think that we
and,
should look into
Yeah.
that.
and
Yes, I'm saying that as a signer on the account, Paula went to the bank and got a check with, I believe, Mayor Culpepper's signature to pay when we bought the lot. So 2 people can go to the bank and take money out.
No, she.
So it's not physically your cash signing abilities that is the issue,
Oh, you needed. to
like
find-
checks. It's as being signers on the account, you also have this other thing that you can do, not that you are doing it, but you are allowed to do that function.
we have no access to the check, so. we
Correct.
Didn't see thing, but you're saying we could go to the bank and they would give us.
Well, look
You
how
could get a cashier's check.
Yeah.
he
Yes.
was saying, that he was saying, I mean, logically Huntington is,
Yeah.
I think that that's something that should be looked
Yeah,
into. 'cause
You and
that's-
I could go to the bank based on what he
It,
said.
Yeah.
but you,
Yeah.
but
Well,
you,
yes, any 2 signers can go to the bank and do that, but that's the point. You would have to be conspiring with a city council member.
possibly
I'm not
would
saying you're going to, I'm just saying it could be done.
you too, and go,
Yeah.
I'm not, you know what I mean?
No, I
Like,
understand
I mean,
exactly what you're
logically,
saying.
that's
You go to a
what could
different
happen.
branch, there's Huntington's all around, man.
Right,
You can go with anyone, say you're.
I get what, I get it. Ugh.
It's not that we're saying this would be a problem. But
It's what it looks like on the outside too.
Exactly.
We're all know how the banking is and we're all talking about it, but the average taxpayer, they don't get it. They're just like, what? You can do what?
But I think
That's
the
what they
reason why it
see.
was set up that way is going back from when, I mean, cause she's like the second up if he's not here, and I think that that's why we set it up why that was set up to begin
Paula
with,
set
it's
it
just
up
in
that
case
way.
he's sick or something, and you guys have to have that
Yeah,
stuff.
'cause he's
Mayor Pro Tem no matter
Oh,
what.
No matter who it is. it's
Yeah.
Oh,
different.
I didn't know
But
that.
Oh,
the
yeah,
mayor pro tem
she
does
was
not
not-
have to be a
Okay.
check signer. It's just always kind of just.
Right,
It's
the
always been that way,
finance
though.
committee side
Yeah.
is why it
It's
was set up
always
that
been
way.
Well,
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
well,
definitely easier to do that,
Okay.
so that we don't have a pro tem and a.
Right, well, that's why I was-
and-
Okay,
But I mean, that's not an ordinance. It's not, it doesn't say that in our
and you
ordinance.
have
or
to do
anything.
it
So
now.
let us,
I looked at them.
let's find out. If that's a problem. I didn't think it was. It's easy enough to ask.
Do we need to put her on or do we want to wait? Because
What do we want to do?
I would be in favor of adding her now and taking her off later if we have to.
So keep her on and add her too.
yeah,
Correct.
I mean,
You'll
that,
have to be a check signer for the taxes.
Yeah,
And that.
because that protects her a
Yeah.
lot with that added line, to me.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to add Kim to the signer at the bank.
Second. Hey, any other discussion?
Who are gonna be the other ones, or are we just keeping them the way they are at this moment, and then?
I'd say just keep the way they are, just add so it's for them.
Okay, any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say aye. What do we need to do? That's not,
That's not.
it is
Kind
kind
of
of.
feels
but
like
it's-
city.
Yeah, yeah, that's, I
It
was
is,
gonna
but
say,
it's-
it is.
No, apparently for the bank, it
Yeah.
just gets.
Verbiage, right, for the,
If it was only that easy. Oh,
Well, I would show up in the bank account.
we're kosher what we need to do.
Yep.
It's up to your.
I guess one thing, make sure you don't get added to the DDA.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying jokingly, I'm.
Right, yeah, no, no,
No,
It would
I
be
think
an issue.
somebody
I will-
messed up
I will
at the
call
bank.
them.
I don't
Okay.
think that. it
Apparently
was
I got
us.
added, and never knew.
Yeah.
I haven't heard
Okay,
very
do
good
we
things
need
about it.
some kind of minute to take there? Are we
It-
doing?
no.
it?
Got 'em.
Well,
And we're
I
gonna
will-
do it.
that's something
We're
we
gonna
need
do it
to make
for
a policy,
DocuSign.
because obviously our bank doesn't care.
I
I
really
think
like
should.
the idea of
Yeah, I mean,
signatures
yeah.
and driver's license.
I can't
That
be
is
the bank
something
to
dealing
let
with
that
life
go without.
insurance that is a must, in my opinion, to verify who they are.
I mean, we had to do that for Cub Scouts. We'd have tickets and everything.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I know, it's kind of just
Can we-
strange, and I.
Thanks.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
It's gonna be-
That'd be a lot.
So there's CDs, should we pull them out?
Every bank is gonna do the DocuSign. None of the
No,
banks
that's
are
not
gonna
an
do
issue.
it.
Worried about
It's
DocuSign.
the fact that
Yeah.
they.
I'm not,
It's the
yeah.
fact that they
It's the
messed
other-
up like they
right.
did. is
Well,
where I have
and
a
that they
problem.
don't require us to have minutes to put people on the
Right.
bank and take them off.
I agree.
That they don't even,
I don't,
nothing.
I don't think any
Yeah.
bank's gonna care about that. That's.
No,
that's-
every bank, every clerk that I talked
But
to
then
said
you
they
guys can
cannot
have
believe
proof
it.
from a receipt from those people stating that you had been the one in.
I mean,
It's documented, it's a paper trail.
Yeah.
so to
So a
speak.
bank is gonna,
They'll require the minutes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Put it in the file.
Oh, yeah,
Really?
anybody on, yeah,
Yeah.
every clerk I talked to
Yeah, it
thought
should
it was
be.
insane
I
that
don't-
they didn't.
disagree that they should. I'm just thinking from the bank's point of view. So the city has these requirements, right? A business that's a hospital has these requirements, and the bank is gonna have a different set of procedures. For
They
each
should,
different
because
type of-
these people that we deal with are municipality bankers.
Mhm.
They only deal with the municipalities.
Yes.
That
Government's a
stuff should
whole
all
big-
be-
Feel that way though.
Hypothetically, they should.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
They
get,
don't.
I
they
get it.
could.
And I'm more thinking of it from the banking
and the city
perspective,
could
right?
sue them.
Yeah, I mean, we could go after them right now, and so could the DDA, because they
Yeah.
screwed up, and that's. Look
That's
at
a big screw up.
it
though.
is.
Well, there's,
Huh,
if
when
you
you
wanna
get
watch
something
something
for-
that's really,
Yeah.
really scary,
No,
watch,
they don't have that much money.
watch
Get close to
the
that.
documentary, All the Queen's Horses.
Yep.
It is an actual clerk treasurer who stole millions of dollars from a city, and they sued the bank and got their money. Because she was allowed to do. the
And
things
again,
she was doing.
As I started this discussion, we wanna make sure it's right. So if that's, I mean,
That's how I feel too. Cause it's kind of say then, we don't want you guys to fail and we don't
I
want
mean,
to
I've
fail as a council.
I've already heard about people down in Twilligers thinking we're stealing money. And that just pisses me off.
Right.
And,
I don't know if
That's how I
anybody,
feel too.
yeah,
I mean,
it's just like I said, it's what it looks like outside there.
right,
We're all talking about it, we're thinking, yes, this is what we do, but when things slip in this small town, people hear those things, and they think, what the heck, what's
Right.
going on?
Yep.
That's
Well,
what's
that's
gonna
'cause they
happen,
don't show-
that's why we cover. our
Because they
butts.
don't show up to any meetings or any of that stuff. They don't
Right,
come to any meetings.
That's right.
I'll only take complaints from these folks. 'Cause they're few.
We don't have another hour.
No.
Okay,
No.
we need to bring that up
Yes.
with how that went down with the parking lot. So the ARPA funds that we get from the state that we have to have done and dispersed and by the end of the year.
30th.
Well,
Yeah.
we have to we're supposed to use them by the end of the year, or we lose it. Well, I have till April 30th to put the report in saying where that money's going, which was going to be going to the parking lot, which is not why to move that.
Is it 150?
That was the
It's
part of the 150
135
that we were using.
So we still approved the 150, so
So
The
by.
problem is we have to do something
have to-
with the money.
Allocate it to someplace before the end of the month.
So what happens if they don't do it by then?
Daniela has a simple
We got some
solution.
other choices of what
We lose.
So what is the simple solution?
The simple solution is just to say that we're using it for our wages. I can put a report in, we use that 135, shows the hours of everyone, because it's a governmental service. That's the only thing that we're using that fund for a governmental service, whether it was the parking lot or wages.
Which is what other cities are doing as well.
So many, yes, so we put it in, saying we're using our wages, put it in just like the capital. fund.
And this is what this Rod, the one that's been coming, and he's a specialist and a senior governmental consultant. That was his suggestion, so we don't lose.
That money.
Yeah.
And then
Because
if
we
like
talked
the
about it.
city agrees to it, we still move forward with 150, even though we've allocated the 135 towards salaries. That 135 that we no
It's gonna
longer
be
are spending
used.
on salaries can now go towards.
Can
We still have that
Can we
money.
take the 135 out of salaries and put it in a separate account and call it ARPA?
We
Laingsburg
can
ARPA.
call it.
Anything but that.
Article 2.0.
Yeah. Just turn.
Put it back around.
Yeah, put it
back
backwards,
anyway.
right.
But it has to be
Yeah.
assigned somewhere by the end of this meeting.
Yeah, we
Yes,
have to
you can
choose
move
if
April
that-
30th
if that- if you guys are in agreement that that's what we use it for.
I'd recommend that's what you do. I motion that Danielle does.
All right, are we clear on the motion? Danielle is going to allocate the ARPA funds to wages. And do we want to include in that she will take the corresponding funds out of wages, create a separate account? To put it, because I don't want to leave it in wages and have it just, I
Well, right,
mean,
no.
if it goes
This
in
is
my
for
wallet,
reporting purposes
I spend it,
to the.
even though I'm saving it for something else, right?
Wages 2.0. or something like that, or
Some, I don't
just-
care,
Yeah,
right.
whatever she wants.
Whatever,
I
whatever.
reallocate all of our wages over there.
Right.
Either way, it's gonna get put over.
Okay, so are we good with the motion?
I don't know, can you read it back? I'm sure I understand with it.
So.
I mean, I don't want to say
Wages, the ARPA funds will be used for wages. And then, I don't know, can we actually legally say what we're gonna?
Yeah, I just don't think we should have to. I think we just
We're
leave
gonna-
it like
we're gonna
that.
Allocate their.
So that
ARPA
part, yes,
to,
that's,
governmental service project.
Yeah.
Which is our need.
that's all we should put
I
in,
think that's all. I should.
yes.
I agree.
Now,
So when,
Now,
so, okay,
next-
okay,
next motion could be, we want to take 135,000
I
out
did
somewhere
that.
else and put it.
got it. So that was where I was going with it.
Yeah.
So when we get ready to use that money, what do we need to do?
Make the motion a little bit.
Well, but we can do
Just do it
that.
right now.
So we have a motion to take the ARPA funds, put it in the wages account. We have that seconded.
I mean,
Okay. Any more discussion on that? All in favor, say, money, let's do a roll call. Sorry, I know it's not spending, but it's.
Beavers,
Yes.
Craig,
yes.
Nichols.
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Geisler. Yes. Geisler.
Yes. And now do we want to have another motion for taking the $135 and putting it into a separate account? Or do we not care? Do we worry about that when we're ready to spend it?
In your opinion, Danielle, do we need to right now?
You want it now?
I don't know how long it's even gonna take for that money to hit our, no, yeah.
Yeah, because if we're moving that money now and we don't get that,
I mean,
You could
who
do
knows
it next
if-
month if we wanted to.
I agree, we can do it next time.
Thank
I
you,
don't think that it'll come in a month.
thank you for the insight
Yeah,
and the explanation of that. That's very, it's
Well,
very
no,
good. And
I ran out of that.
very much.
I got a
helps.
couple of the, maybe one left.
All right.
Pocket lick.
It's a pocket lick, Andy.
All right. And then we got
Extra flavor.
Pay the bill.
pay the bills. Okay, anything else on that?
I make a motion.
Pay the bills?
Keep the lights on.
Okay.
I'll second it.
signature
All
motion.
right, any discussion on bills? Questions? All right, all in favor of paying the bill, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say aye. All right, we will keep the lights on.
We don't need roll call for that. Money.
I don't think we ever do.
I wasn't sure if money.
Yeah, I know it's money, but I don't
point,
think.
right?
I don't think
ever-
we've ever asked for. a
No.
roll call for it.
Maybe we should though.
You
Checks and
could.
balances.
All right, roll call. No. All right, committee report.
Running on a paper.
All right, yeah. Public library.
Oh, that's me. We decided what we were doing with the bake sale funds. We're going to Friends of the Library. We're talking to Kim White from Shiawassee District Library to go over millage options for us over the next few years. We asked for increased funds for Victor Township. Story time has become a really big hit. We've had like almost 21 kids almost every week. They gave them solar eclipse glasses. Adventure begins at your library, so they're gonna do outdoor activities. The Girl Scouts did the window out front. They did a fire truck last week. They did talk to the marketing people as well. And we went over the budget and the CD, and we got the email from Danielle already for the budget, so we're good there, but that's it.
So do we need to I may be crossing a line. Do we need to talk about library budget and where it's going? or
Yes,
you guys-
Danielle and I we were waiting until she finished her budget so that we can see this year's budget, so that she's gonna sit down with us and go over everything, because our budget, and I don't know if a lot of people know, we did reach out, like I stated in here, to Victor Township. The minimal amount that we get from them was denied, and we have a lot of people that come from Victor Township. And so that was what hit us pretty hard too,
So-
when we had asked.
So who denied that they're,
We didn't even hear from them, for one. We had to hear it from a board member that they denied it. So our director had reached out asking, wrote up something, and we're coming up with numbers and stuff because she does have the statistics of who comes from where. And the cost of stuff has went up, we're getting flooring and stuff. I mean, that's why we did the bake sale, to make up for some of the money that we had. We ended up doing a little over $1,200 in one day.
What was denied?
Us asking for more money, to get more money from
For the
Victor
millage
Township.
or-
No, not the millage side of it.
No.
We went over the millage after we.
So
had
we
already
asked,
went to
we asked
Township.
Victor Township, give us $10,000.
Well, we didn't- I don't-
Whatever.
I don't think that we specified an amount. We just asked for a little bit more than what they were paying us now.
They always
Compared
give, like
to-
all Skyota and Victor always give money. They
Yeah.
don't need money.
They have a certain
they
amount.
Use our like.
Mhm.
Okay.
So with
And
that
how-
being said, yeah,
And they're no longer giving you any money or?
they're
just-
giving us money.
just
It's
that-
just with the cost of everything going up, that's the only reason why we asked.
I know, like,
Because it's hard to keep our library running with the budget that we have. And I don't think a lot of people know that until they actually look at our budget. Like, we
don't-
go over it every year.
we had a fiscal issue back in, when I got elected in 2016. And so they were the red. I don't know what's happened since, but it was in the red, and
The Friends has helped out.
well, the city, well, that's probably the big plus too, but
Mhm.
city of Laingsburg's giving a lot of money
Yeah,
to them, try to keep them afloat, and I think we're at one
well, we
point.
haven't dipped into it. The last couple years we hadn't. I think last year was the first year that we were down, I think $1,800 from what I believe, and that was because of the healthcare thing had changed.
Okay,
And that's
so
what
that
put
upped
us
it.
in there. Well, because we were gonna buy that building during COVID. But we
Right,
were looking at it and we had to pay an architect, but we had to get it out of the CD and it didn't get moved out of the CD. So it was like a whole chaos thing. So I think that that's a problem. And like I had sat down with Danielle and we were talking about the budget. She finally came up with numbers too of going over like the average over the last few years of where we sit. I mean, it's slowly getting there, and that's why she was mentioned that we might have to dip into the city stuff this year, but I'm thinking after, looking at that and then talking to the Friends, and if we keep doing the bake sale, I don't think that we'll have that problem. We just need the support as of right now, possibly this year, of where we're sitting, so that we can figure out what kind of fundraising we need to do as a library, so that we don't have to ask for those funds.
right, because at one
That's
point,
the
I
plan.
think it was, we were at like 26%,
Yeah.
and like all the rest of them were so low, I'm like, holy crap, really?
Our
know?
budget it's definitely crazy, and we looked over, we have one particular spot that we have $4,000 that goes out to books. We had to get $2,000 from the Friends of the Library to cover that, so that it would even out our budget, right? And then we have the Lions Club that donates $2,000 to pay for our ebooks. So a lot of this stuff, we had a grant during COVID, that covered a lot of that stuff too. Because of COVID, nobody's coming in, they're getting ebooks, and a lot of them are doing curbside. So I think that that's the biggest thing too. But I wanted to wait until Danielle was fully done with her budget and everything was done, so that we can go over for this next year.
I can't say how much I'm impressed with the new library board, though. They're young
Yeah.
mothers that have taken that. The story time has increased, the activities.
Sandra says it's busy down there.
Yeah, so I feel like we're moving in the right direction.
Can I ask you to do some homework? Can you come back next meeting with what the agreement is for each of the townships?
Yeah,
Or
that's what
is
I was gonna ask. Abby.
Yes,
Yes,
it-
yes,
it's
we
just-
have all that. We have all of
Or
that.
is it just, well, Woodhull gives us X number of
Well, we didn't
dollars?
want to be the type of people
Well,
to
yeah,
go to the townships and be like, oh, so-and-so's doing this. I mean,
Well,
everything's
sometimes you have
so
to
much
prove
more
things.
money now than what it was before
yeah,
COVID.
and
And
it's, yeah,
the amount of people that we're having coming in, Sandra's signing more and more people up
Yeah,
with those, and we have extra,
Mm-hmm.
we have like the Wi-Fi now that people come in and check out. We have, the ebooks obviously are a really big hit with the library.
Do we have, there's some place to track, like how many kids maybe that come out of Victor,
Yes.
how many kids come out of Scioto?
Well, she
Woodhull
has
or
the
whatever.
numbers of who,
Or-
what patrons, because we have, when they have library cards and they get stuff with us, we have where they're from, what
Okay.
township they're from.
So-
Sandra does have those numbers, and that's what she wanted to, that we wanted to talk to as a board on getting those numbers,
Can you
because we
put
have to do it. What?
the numbers. Who gets-
Oh, for this next, yeah, we have a meeting next Monday,
Well, just to have Sandra start,
township
putting
numbers.
it out
Yeah, because
here.
we did ask,
Just
well,
so
we
we
just
know.
asked at this last meeting for the numbers after she had discussed the Victor Township thing, so. Yes, we are going in the right direction. The budget looks wonky right now, but that's where we're at.
all right, moving on. In public meeting, we all know it, we were all there. Borgstrom, the marketing strategy, I thought there was a lot of, even before we got their report, there was a lot of good information that we got out of the day and talking with them.
We need to amend that though. This says we called the order at 7:02, not 6:02.
Oh, yeah, good catch. Then we started that meeting at 6, yeah. Maybe you.
Oh, I didn't know it was.
We're all there.
I wasn't.
Cookies there were, but no.
That's right.
I still haven't seen any over there. at the-
Hey, find a look. Hey, right, the
I'll look for the kitchen
Kitchen
sink.
Yep.
I'd find out kitchen
I
sink.
had 3 people ask me, where did you last house?
Planning committee, commission, you help me, Randy, as we go through here. So we're working on property maintenance code. One to put together, some things that we want to see cleaned up around the city and ordinances that we want to create, right? So.
Yep.
That's in the works. Annual report and master plan review, so that's an ongoing. We talked about that earlier. Public participation, that's ongoing also, so. That's about it, yeah. All right, finance committee.
So we got an update from the treasurer, which you guys all have to here, and we talked about the checks and balances, just like we did here. We talked about the ARPA money, which we did come up with a plan, obviously now that we know, and the budget. And that's about it.
Oh, I should have been prepared, sorry. Police,
We didn't have a meeting tonight, but looks like we got the minutes, I guess, for there. So it looks like they had 22 reports. They've got. There's a whole bunch of them, different ones in there. Well, found really, yeah, I took me a minute, yeah.
Those are good.
Definitely a long list there. I mean, a lot of ones on it and stuff, but I don't want to go into that one. Patrol miles, 1,416. They had 47 total traffic stops, 19 traffic tickets issued, so that's still low. And where's our warnings? Do we have no warnings?
Traffic warning is the top 28.
Looks like some tickets and, oh, wait a minute. I found it. Had 28 traffic warnings. Had 2 different ordinance violation warnings, one for trash and one for noise. Then he put down additional information, provided security at boys basketball game. Laingsburg High School assisted Consumers Energy and Grand River and Meridian to run new power line.
I had to deputize myself that night.
Were you out there working?
Came upon the power line that was down across Grand River. And stop there waiting for the fire department to get there. Directing traffic, sorry.
We need to put you in there.
What?
You're the highway
That's right,
department.
exactly. Arr, 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 arr.
Well, so it looked like, he had to go to Ingham County Circuit Court, testify and, I've got three in parentheses, where are they, three count attempted murder trial. And then he did additional training on extreme risk protection orders, red flag law. So it looks like he's been pretty busy and whoever else has been working. Lots of stuff on there.
All right. All right, DPW.
We talked and, you know, one of the things we're talking about is music in the park, trying to figure out better parking. So Dave and I are gonna look at that. We went out after the meeting and saw some areas that I can do. But, we didn't talk a lot.
The maintenance and remodeling, there's a plan for it.
Oh, yeah, we're painting. Who,
Power washing.
power washing and painting the tennis court, pickleball court. And then, we're gonna, are we doing the skateboard? We're gonna wait on that.
We're gonna do that next year.
Okay, skateboard will be next year, so if people complain, just say, hey, one year, 1 year, other year, unless you want the taxes to go up.
And then come in and fight with us about it.
But he's talking about the party too, he's trying to food trucks.
Yeah, that's with the parking. So we have two spots that we have an idea of, that we can get them off the road and park them closer by, but not interfere with the flow.
Okay, last one, I think last one, DDA.
Nope, got one after that.
Fire.
LSW.
Oh, I thought, okay, go ahead.
LSW. Ambulance for the city, they had 6 calls, Scioto 11, Woodhall 16, they had 4 mutual aids. Total calls for the month was 37, year to date 77. Fire rescue, city had 4, Scioto had 3, Woodhall 5, Victor had 11, Bennington 0, they had 5, mutual aids. Total calls for the month 28, year to date 59.
Okay,
And then we approved the language for it to be
Fire.
put on the ballot,
millage,
yeah, millage for the fire.
okay,
That was it.
all right, last one then, DDA. We made a motion and approved Boyd Landscaping for maintaining flower beds, $7,800. We did match on main applications. That's the $25,000 paying a refunded. One went to, well, and they're not guaranteed. They are, we approved them to be forwarded from the city of Laingsburg to the state to be approved or denied by the state. So one of those that we have passed forward with DG Hair Salon and Reform Wellness.
Is it up to 25,000?
I think it's up to 25,000. Right, and then the face forward facade, which is the $5,000, which comes out of the DDA's money. We approved 4 of them, one to Leonard Hardware, one to DG Hair Design, one to
Reform.
Reform Wellness, and the last one was to Budnick Insurance Group. 4 of those, total of just under $15,000. So.
Hopefully you'll be adding another business downtown soon,
Is that,
Huh.
formerly known as Boondocks.
yeah, no, I've heard,
So we'll see what happens there.
Scoop on that.
Huh?
Haven't heard.
Hopefully Mexican restaurant or something is what's being talked about.
I've heard open by Carnival, which I think is.
I don't know, it'll be interesting. Well, you never know, you never know. We found
I
out that
heard
go-
that. I don't know whether it's true or not. I heard that. I was, yeah. I don't remember who told me that.
Yeah, from,
I thought they were,
it's not in construction.
right, yeah.
Well, I think the person that's interested in buying is, that's their thought process.
So we're
Were you
still
there,
live
Mark?
streaming too, so
No, but I know.
they wanna keep speculation down.
Yeah, I make a motion to adjourn.
All right.